Welcome everyone to round 6 of the Freestyle Open at Grenke. We have the top board clash, in fact, between Hans Niemann and Vincent Keimer today. Here in front of us, we have Alexei Sarana facing the GOAT, Magnus Carlsen, who is not leading the tournament. He is half a point behind the tournament leaders who are on full points, 5 out of 5. Hans Niemann and Vincent, who face each other. We had Hans join us in the commentary last evening, where he explained his game a bit, his win against with the black pieces in the 5th round. And can we have his camera on the screen as well, Producer G? Because I see that Magnus is not on his board yet. So it's clear that the pieces, the position, starting of the position of the round has not yet been announced. Because it seems as if the pieces are set up on their original squares in the cameras. As soon as the starting position is announced, the players will rearrange their pieces to the position number. Yesterday evening, and actually yesterday it was a very curious day because we had both the positions similar to that of standard chess. In the morning round, we had the king and the queen's position interchanged. That's it. All other pieces where they are. And in the evening round, we had the knight on b1 and the rook on e1 squares interchanged. Everything else was where it was. So it was very interesting to see how the players were approaching the position, what changes are made in the position if the knight is on a1 instead of b1, what happens when the king is on d1 instead of e1. बहुत ही मुझे बहुत मजा आया कवर करने के लिए कल का गेम. I'm going to refresh my screen and check if the new position is on the board already. Not yet. We are yet to receive it. Huh. Yeah, producer G, I think so. Vivek, our producer, points out that Hans and Vincent are playing on board number 5 instead of board number 1, even though they are the players. Oh, there is kickoff. So yes, I see the bishop is in the corner. So it's just our board has also been updated. And the reason they are on board 5 and not on any other board is perhaps because Vincent, who is the local hero in Germany, his board might be fixed in order to be near the spectators. That's very much a possibility. Because, you know, a lot of people are coming in to watch the games in the Grenke Chess Festival. It is, after all, a festival. There is a row of spectators sitting and standing in front of the stage, waiting, watching the players live. I will quickly go through the position first before they make their move. I see that none of them has made their first move yet. So, you know, the king is on f1. Bishop is, the two bishops are in the two corners of the board. So it's very clear that we need to fianchetto them. ये काफी clear हो गया है और कोई option है नहीं. So we will have two fianchetto bishops. Now the question is whether we want to start with g3 or g4, because g4 also opens up our rook and we can go for a rook lift in the future. However, it is a risky move to make because g3, a solid choice, can be followed up with castle instantly on the next move. The king and rook are perfectly placed to castle in one move. In fact, I'm sure you can even castle on the first move itself. Yes, short castle is a legal move in this position. So there must be some players who will opt for it. Nihal Sarin has already made his first move. So let's see what he has done here. Before I go to that game, I just want to quickly point out that the only two pieces who are on their original squares as standard chess in this position are the queen on d1 and the knight on b1. Everything else is scattered. The knight, instead of being on g1, the king side knight, is on d1, is on e1 this time, where the king usually is. So the knight would either be developed to d3 or f3. Arrow making skills need to improve. Let's go. Let's see how our boy Nihal is doing. He's playing on the 7th board against Maxim Shigaev, who lost his game against Hans Niemann last evening with a suspicious piece sacrifice that was gobbled up by Hans, and the game ended in his victory. I will check a few things by the time the players make their move. Okay, so Nihal chooses the move b4, the orangutan opening usually in standard chess. Here, of course, it's completely different. The bishop opens up, so it's very logical to play b3 or b4 on the first move. He opts for b4. And black is conservative, replies with pawn push only to the third rank b6. Check our stream. Is it going fine? Are, let's say hello to the chat. What type of chess is this? Ishana, TK says, it is freestyle chess. It is a freestyle open tournament where 3 categories are being held simultaneously. In category A, there are players allowed with a rating of 1950 and above are allowed to compete in the same tournament as grandmasters and top elite players of the world like Levon Aronian, Magnus Carlsen, and the current leaders of the tournament, Hans Niemann and Vincent Keimer. So it's an amazing, fun tournament, freestyle chess. में starting के pieces scattered होते हैं, not necessarily on the same position as in standard chess. Standard chess is just one out of 960 possible ways in which the major and minor pieces can be arranged at the start of the game on the first row. तो निहाल के opponent ने b6 move choose किया. Oh yes, we have an Indian clash today. ये क्या है इतने सारे players में? Let me check the number of players. I need to know how many players are playing in the same tournament. 310 players are playing in the Open A freestyle, and out of 310 players, Murli Karthikeyan is facing an Indian, Arvind Chidambaram, his compatriot from the same chess academy, Chess Gurukul, in the 6th round today. This is quite, I mean, you don't want to come here and play your friend, but okay, what to do? C4 on the board. Interesting choice. I would think that the first move by white would either be to open the h1 bishop or the a1 bishop. So g3 or g4 or b3 or b4 would have been my instinctive choices in this position. But of course, I'm not that experienced in freestyle chess, and I would like to know what the grandmasters are choosing. I'm also as curious as all of you here. C4. What are the ideas? Idea number 1 is bringing the knight to c3. So it is a useful move. Idea number 2 is playing pawn to b3 later, and we create a pawn chain and we also open up our bishop. So, oof. So basically, if black plays g6, we go knight c3 and play b3 anyway. So nobody can stop us from playing b3 and opening our bishop. Black goes for c5. And they have made the same moves Let me see what is up. Yeah, it is position number 131. Up, we have the position number on the screen as well. तो वो बहुत अच्छी बात है. Honestly, through this tournament, I'm getting to know so many different ideas in chess, which are usually missed in standard chess. क्योंकि कुछ typical ideas होते हैं, वो standard chess में इतने easily नहीं आते. जैसे कल फ्रेंच की पोजीशन थी. फ्रेंच में यूजुअली नाइट C3 से E2 आता है एडवांस फ्रेंच में. बट yesterday इन मैग्नस गेम द नाइट वाज ऑन E3 बिकॉज इनिशियल पोजीशन में नाइट A1 पे रखा गया था. सो इट केम टू E3 instead of going from C3 to E2. And the knight being on E3 was a superstar. तो ये आइडियाज बहुत ही इंस्ट्रक्टिव है एंड यू कैन एक्चुअली यूटिलाइज देम इन योर स्टैंडर्ड चेस ओपनिंग्स एज वेल. I yeah. By the way, I'm very curious to see what Magnus has chosen. Magnus has chosen G3, so I feel a bit validated. मेरा भी intuition यही था कि या तो G3 या G4. दोनों में से एक बिशप्स को तो फर्स्ट मूव में जगह देनी ही है मैन्युअर करने की. Quite happy to see G3 by Magnus here. Black responds with G6. Beware, once we open up our bishop, it is not easy for Black to play B6 himself because the bishop on A8 is hanging. However, he can go for the same idea as Karthi and Arvind have. He can go for C5, bring the knight to C6, and then play B6 himself. It is going to take 3 moves, but all the 3 moves are useful ones. So we don't mind making them. Now, I'm very curious to see what's happening in technically the top board clash, which is happening on the fifth board. What are the initial moves? C4 chosen by Hans. He prioritizes controlling the center with C4. Even though we pushed a side pawn, how many of you know this? I learned this concept recently that the files, the squares C4, C3, and F4, F3 for white, and C5, C6, F5, F6 are called the extended center. ये मुझे पता ही नहीं था. मुझे बस ये central squares के बारे में पता था, which are the main central squares in the game. If we control the center, we control the direction of the game. But controlling these 4 squares from white and these 4 from black also helps because the pawn on C4, for example, here controls the square D5. So that's the concept. So that's why C4 actually is a preferred move. Even in standard chess, C4 is the English opening, C5 on the board, G3 by white. Finally, the bishop can breathe and G6 in response. So far, they've been playing symmetrical chess. देखते हैं if Hans deviates. Curious to see his camera. Oh, yesterday he joined us on the stream. It was the first time that I interacted with him in person. I've seen him in tournaments, but I never really interacted with him before. And this, he was so confident. I was very surprised. I'd heard about him earlier as well, like about his confidence level. Harshit has mentioned it to me on the stream as well. But it was very obvious in the way he spoke about his game yesterday that he feels so good about his chess currently. He feels inspired. And he really believes in his statement that chess speaks for itself. So I am keen to see how this game is going to turn up, because I feel both the players are feeling ambitious in this tournament. 5 out of 5. Kam nahi hai. I don't remember the last time I made. Yeah, I do actually. 2 years ago, I made 7 out of 7 in a tournament. But honestly, full scores are very, very rare in a chess player's career. You usually drop half a point here and there. And that is why Magnus's 9 out of 9 in this same event last year was extraordinary, even though he is Magnus Carlsen. But maybe this year it's Hans or Vincent who will do that. Let's see. Mandy 6015. Hello. जेवण झालं का? मी ना खूप फास्ट जेवले आज. I have some food with me for the first time on stream. I think I'm going to eat finally, because I've realized this 8 hour commentary routine is perhaps not that good for health unless I actually eat on the stream. So I'm going to do that. तुमचं जेवण झालं का? आणि why is Harika lost in the bar? Guki Reza Kalkaru asks, it's a very good question. I think there is a glitch in the transmission. Yes, now we have the game and it's like her position, her bar has been adjusted. So Harika, by the way, oh my God, look at whom she's playing. She's playing Levon Aronian, the artist. They are on 3.5 out of 5. And what a tournament Harika has been having. She's faced some amazing players in the last few rounds. She beat Avanda Liang in the third round. And today she's facing Levon Aronian. Let's go. G3 is her preferred choice. Harika, by the way, often plays the Reti with white since her childhood. So she's used to fianchettoing her bishop anyway. D5 on the board. D5. Okay, let's understand. D5 is a move that controls the center as well as this one. But it also blocks the bishop. So D5 is a move that none of the other boards have opted for so far that we've checked, but Aronian opts for D5. I think it's a really good move. And it makes a lot of sense to block this bishop. But on the other hand, we are also blocking ours. Our bishop is also on the same diagonal. So it's a give and take. D5 and Harika responds with D4. Same strategy, blocking the H8 bishop, controlling the center, but also blocking your own. G6 and knight f3. But Harika, for some reason, the engine doesn't like it. Though it's a very normal looking move. Let us see if there was a better move. So I just want to try a couple of moves here. Arey, Mandy 6015 says eating soya bean pulao. Life is only around corporate job, gym and chess. Wow. Actually it's pretty decent. Sounds decent because you have a profession, you have something for your health, and you have something for your mood or your passion maybe, which is chess. So, acha balance hai. I like that. And Travish Henry says, I love CBI. Yes, I do too. Same pinch. Okay, so let's try to understand this. यहाँ पे हम e4 अगर खेल सकते तो बहुत अच्छा होता, but e4 would blunder away a pawn on d4 because after takes the queen's path has opened up. So e4 controlling the center is not an option. C4 was possible though because rook takes, and we do support the pawn on d4. But don't you think the rook on c4 is vulnerable? I mean, let's say c4 takes, rook takes, maybe even a move like b5. And now the bishop attacks the bishop on h1. If the rook moves away from the fourth rank, then we lose the d4 pawn. So we lose material. And the rook on b4 seems dodgy. It's completely misplaced. We will take on h1, rook h1, and support the b5 pawn. I think we can simply go a6 here with the idea to go knight c6 on the next move, attacking the rook and the d4 pawn at the same time. We are also threatening another move here. Do you want to guess what is black's next move here? If let's say white plays e3, what is it that black can play to create more pressure on white? क्वीन d2 तो नहीं आएगा. जी Travis Henry. Oh, I think your name is Travis Henry. Sorry. Travis Henry says c5. That's right. Because suddenly, now that the rook is not on the first rank anymore, the queen is unsupported. So you cannot take on c5 because the queen hangs. C5 attacks the rook, attacks the pawn on d4. We will pick up material. So c4 would have been risky as well. Knight of 3, I think, is a very solid move to make. Engine doesn't like it, doesn't matter. Very consistent with Harika's plan of fianchet towing and going for solid move. She can even castle on the next move, in fact. b6, and I'm expecting Harika to castle. I've known her for many years now. I predict bishop g2 or short castle. Let's see. Do we have Harika's camera? No, we don't have her camera. But we will follow her game because she's playing amazing so far. Let's check some other boards as well. We have Hans Niemann on the screen. So let's see what he has done, whether the game has progressed. Acha,
Hello.
Hi, Harshit.
What's up?
Everything is good. It would be even better if we could get you on the stream.
Yeah, no, my camera is off. I'll just come in a few minutes.
Okay, then. Yes, we are waiting for you, Harshit. Exciting position today. All the pieces are scattered, unlike yesterday. Yesterday was also fun, but today it's even more, I believe.
And Hans is playing against Vincent. Okay, this is the key matchup, right? The marquee matchup.
Yeah, board one clash, objectively speaking. And he opened with c4, Harshit. So take us through the game, maybe?
Yeah, c4, c5. Okay, this makes sense. And now g3. Actually, I was listening to you, Soumya, and compared to the game with Harika, I think this is a much better approach because now after c4, we kind of are not blocking our bishop on a1
Hmm.
compared to with d4. So
Hmm.
now c4, g3, both the bishops have been activated
Acha.
because if you see g6, knight c3 and then b3,
Hmm.
so दोनों bishop खुल गए and I feel that this position is super solid for black as well. So to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a very solid position.
And castle, and suddenly it's similar to one of the English symmetrical openings that we see in standard chess. You just need one knight on f3, the bishop to be on g2, and we are back to standard chess now.
Mahmood is like, Harshit bhai, you were at party last night. अरे भाई क्या party यहाँ पे? There is no time to party.
So what's been your morning routine, Harshit?
I am sleeping so well here actually, Soumya. And then I wake up and then I go down for breakfast. Actually, if you go before the round starts, it's impossible to find a seat for breakfast. So the trick is to go for breakfast after the round starts. Yeah, then no one is there.
Hmm. Actually, that's a very good trick. And you feel like it's like going for a movie theater. and nobody is there. It's like a private screening. So like that, it's a private breakfast. Everything is for you, all the buffet.
Exactly. By the way,
क्या
now
खाया फिर breakfast पे?
I had some cornflakes, and then I my favorite thing to eat is chocolate croissant. So I generally try to have that, and then some coffee.
Nice.
I'm curious, by the way,
Hmm.
if ever White can consider this idea of going e3
Mm-hmm.
and then somewhere to go d4 at some point,
Hmm. So you want the knight to be on f3 if you want that to happen, right?
or c2. I was not
Hmm.
sure where, but I think e3 and knight c2 I kind of like.
Yeah, C2 also makes a lot of sense. In fact, in the English, after taking on D4, the
Hmm.
knight from F3 takes on D4 and it retreats to C2 because it doesn't want to get exchanged. It wants, white wants to keep more pieces on the board. So knight on C2, a great, yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, Harshit.
And let's see their facial expressions. Okay, Hans, you can see him. He's looking fresher. He's wearing the endgame AI shirt today. He knows today is a big day because if things go right, he can actually be in position to what Magnus did last year. Both of these players are. They are 4 rounds away from potentially having a score of 9 out of 9. Soumya, is there any chance of that happening?
Yes, why not? There's always a chance of that happening.
Hmm.
I do see it happening, but it depends. Actually, they are the only ones on 5 out of 5. So if there is
Yes.
a result today, then on this board, then one of the players has a good chance. If they make a draw, then obviously the chances are gone. So we will find out once this round is over. So that means it's a crucial round to know whether somebody is scoring 9 out of 9 in Grenke Freestyle Open 2026 or not.
Yeah. And actually, you can see many of the players have the same position that we see on the top board, Soumya.
So all of them just copy paste, yeah?
Yeah, many of them have gotten the same position on the opening.
So let's go to Magnus's board because yes, exact same position.
Exactly.
So everyone sort of agreed that this was the right setup to go to. There was this telepathic discussion between all the top players, and they were like, "हाँ, यही खेलना है."
Guys, this is a very important round. Round number 6. We are almost at the halfway mark here at the Grenke Freestyle Tournament. 5 rounds are done, 4 more rounds remain, and some of the top players are now pitted against each other. Do like the stream and let us know whose game you would like to follow in this round. D3 chosen by Magnus.
Yes,
Very
he doesn't go
interesting.
for the E3 plan. So D3 he's playing slowly. Let's see what he has in mind. It's curious. Neither of the players have castled, even though they could have done it on move one, Harshit.
Yeah, this is
They are
actually.
delaying castle.
I'm curious if Magnus wants Alexei to commit to castling and then just. No, but I guess both players have to castle shot at some point. I don't
No, I mean, if
imagine.
why is the king worse on f1 than it would be on g1? Like, it is possible to okay, let's make a few moves maybe. Bishop g7, maybe. Okay, let's say black castles. And we go knight to d5. We
Mhm.
exchange the dark squared bishop. And now white could start with a potential attack on the king's side because the rook is very well placed on g1.
Yeah, actually, you asked a very valid question there. Why the king on f1 would be any worse, or yeah, any worse than the king on g1? And that's why I guess Magnus has not committed to castling yet. By the way, also Arvind and Karthikeyan are paired against each other. Two very good friends, actually. I know both of them for a long period of time, also having the same position, guys. So it's crazy how all of these top players have unanimously yet separately reached the same conclusion of reaching this position.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we did they everyone started with a different move, Harshit. That's the funniest part,
Oh,
but they
really?
reached the same position. Like Magnus started with the first move G3, uh Karthi started with the move C4,
Mm-hmm.
and some players have started with the move B3, but eventually they all reach the same
The same
position
position.
one day. So
And
all
Buddy
paths
Pranav takes
lead
on
to
the
the same.
legend Arthur Yusupov. Whoa, whoa.
Oh, Gukirecha, question is, if rook is already on f1, you castle only by just hopping with the king, or they have to touch the rook as well? On the board, you don't need to touch the rook. You can just go with your king to g1 and it would be castle, because the king anyway cannot jump over pieces, right? So if it has, maybe if the king was on h1, then you simply go to, but why would you go to g1? I mean, okay, this is a ridiculous question.
I mean, it kind of feels nice to have the bishop on h1 next to your king, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And now when you castle, you also connect the rooks. Connecting the rooks also has a small advantage
Mm-hmm.
because when the rook was on g1,
Mm-hmm.
we did not have
Let's go back.
we did not
Let's.
really have the rooks connected.
Hmm.
So I mean, I'll just come in a few minutes.
Okay, Harshit. Can't wait. शॉर्ट कासिल शॉर्ट कासिल. अच्छा, यहाँ पे उन दोनों ने फटाफट शॉर्ट कासिल कर ली. And quite committal play, You see the difference, right? Both, like Magnus waiting with his castle here, but Arthur Yusupov, a legend, goes for castle immediately, and he also commits his knight to c2. So he's very clear about the path he wants to take ahead. He does not want to keep his options open. He's clear what he wants to go for. And he goes for d4 break in the center. The fifth move already. Pawn takes, knight takes. So defining the position, defining the pawn structure by the sixth move, pawn to g6, knight c3, knight d7, and e4. As Harshit was discussing, there was a possibility of maybe pawn moves to e3 and then d4. In Magnus's game, he opted for the pawn structure d3. So if a2, b3, c2, d3, and maybe e4, maybe keep pawn stays on e2, we will find out. And here, White has already decided that he wants to play this particular structure, the Morexi bind structure with e4 and c4 on the board and our own piece on d4. So White controls the center completely. Black challenges it from the side, but he does not have any piece in the center. Guki Reza says, oh, I got the question wrong. I mean to ask, if king was on g1 and the rook was on h1, then do we need to touch the king first in order to bring the rook to f1 and castle? Yes. Then you just need to lift the king up so that you make a path for your rook to slide over and then keep it back. So yes, in that case, you will have to touch your king. Uh, Actually, good question. I had asked this question to Sandeepan Bhaiya during our camp in Chola, and we had a small discussion on this. And he was the one who came up with this explanation that the king, we lift the king up in order for the rook to slide over. And in fact, I think so Wesley um, had to move his king because of this error once in an over the board freestyle game, and that is how we found out about this rule. Can you show Nihal game? I think yes, let's go. Nihal is playing on board 7 against Maxim Shigai. We saw the opening briefly. He opened with b4. So Nihal has completely different ideas of approaching this position. पहले ही move में उन्होंने b4 commit कर दी. He did not wait for with a calm move like g3 to find out what his opponent wants. There are players who wait to find out what his opponent wants and decide accordingly. There are players who know what they want and they go for it. They don't wait to find out what their opponent wants. They will dictate the terms on the board. And Nihal having that approach in this game today. c4, c5, pawn takes, castle, castle, queen a4. So queen has been developed early, which is usually not recommended in chess, but the queen does attack the pawn on a7. I believe he wants black to commit with knight c6. So queen a4, a move that induces knight c6, supporting the pawn on e7. But now white gets to play g3 without having to bother about exchanging his light squared bishop with blacks. He wants to preserve his bishop because the light squared bishop will be a great defender for the white king on g1. g3, d6. Knight comes to c2, pawn to g6. Actually, this is very good news for Nihal because as we were explaining, the light squared bishop, a great defender for our king here. The same way, the dark squared bishop defending the black king will now be exchanged. Bishop takes h8, king takes h8, knight c3. So very good trade for Nihal here. Yes, I see that the eval bar is equal, but usually you're happy to trade the dark squared bishop in a position, in a fianchetto position. So knight c3, f5, rook b1, controlling the open file, but apparently it's a mistake. That is very strange. Are we too slow? Black is black getting f4 here? Okay, let's see. f5. Why Magnus is taking so much time? This is a freestyle tournament where the pieces were placed in different positions in this beginning, right? So nobody really knows where to place their pieces. They're thinking over the board. And that is why players like to take a lot of time in the first 10 moves. So that because they approach the start of the game as a middle game. You know, you have not by hearted 15 moves of theory and then come to the board and you can play that as fast as possible and then think. But yes, definitely a good question there because Magnus's time consumption in this tournament has been unusual. Just a moment. Oof. Yeah, I definitely think his time consumption has been unusual, though his play has been sublime. मुझे बहुत मजा आ रहा है उनके गेम्स देखने को इस टूर्नामेंट में. We will go to his game. First, let's try to decode Nihal's game and understand what is happening. Maybe f4 here. Yeah, apparently f4 was not played, but I see that the eval bar likes my move. So f4 could be the move. And it makes sense to go for it because white की queen king side पे जा चुकी है, rook king queen side पे ही थी, knights are also here. So king side पे दो ही pieces है white के पास. While black's pieces can come in really fast. I'm thinking of how do we, one maneuver is this one. Knight G7, Knight E6, and Knight D4. And another one is to go Knight E5 and maybe even F3 after exchanging the light squared bishop, or keeping it alive and going for F3 anyway, blocking this bishop permanently. Yeah, that looks like a good choice. Actually, let's just analyze this for another few minutes and I'll go to Magnus's board. Let's make a move for white here, maybe D3. Not necessarily a good move, just a move. And I believe that black can play knight knight e5 here, because queen a7 would run into f3. And I feel this is very good play for black here, because the bishop on h1 is completely blocked. So this was a fantastic dynamic possibility for black here, which he did not go for. And rook b1 के बाद black ने क्या खेला? Black खेले a5. A very committal move on the queen side. You are giving up the square on b5 permanently. It can be occupied by the knight and also by the rook. And you will have to keep defending. You will have to keep defending the pawn on e5 for the rest of your life. If you give it up, in some positions you can, like we just saw, black could go for this f4 95 idea and simply give up the a5 pawn. But you have extra worries now after the pawn on a5, which you didn't have when it was on a7. Another pattern that comes to my mind is, let's say rook b5. You play f4. I just want to illustrate my point. d3. You play knight e5. Here, queen into a5 offers a queen trade. And I believe once the queens are traded, the position will not at least be dangerous for white, even if black gets f3 in, which was not the case when the pawn was on a7 and you are offering queen into a7 there. So that's why maybe a5 is not a good idea here. I would definitely call it a mistake. Let's see how Nihal reacts. We will now go to Magnus's board. Oh, Mabu, thank you. Says good analyze, Soumya. Thank you so much. Yeah, actually, I'm enjoying analyzing these games, and um, I I'm also I'm also curious. This is very new for me as well, for all the commentators, all the players. So we are also trying to understand how our players taking these decisions over the board. D3. E6, sneak peek into Leon, please. Yes, we will cover Magnus's board for now. We will see what has changed in his position and then go to Leon. D3, E6 was played by black. So black goes for the idea suggested by Harshit. E6, D5. Not immediately, but after knight C7, because you need to control the square with your pieces, is an idea. Yes, D3 is not so clear, Also, again, please note, neither of the sides have castled. We were discussing how if black castles, then maybe white can go for a strong attack, a quick attack, not necessarily a strong one, but a quick one. And so black also doesn't commit yet. Also, another possible explanation why Magnus is taking a lot of time is because, and this is my own theory, but I feel European players are usually not very comfortable with morning rounds. Their time zone is such that they usually wake up late in the morning. And that is why most of the tournaments in Europe have a starting time in the afternoon. The games usually begin at 3 p.m. In Tata Steel, Vikensee, because the time control is very long, the games begin at 2 p.m. so that it will get over by the time dinner begins, right? But not earlier than 2. And last round is usually at 12 p.m. And already some players complain that, oh, the last round started too early. Why have you started the last round early? Why can't you keep it at the same time as all other games? You know, and that is a probable reason why Magnus and a few other players might be feeling groggy in the morning rounds.
Me
क्या
too.
लगता है आपको? अच्छा, हर्षित, do you agree with my analysis?
Completely.
हाँ, इसीलिए मैग्नस लेट थोड़ा स्लो खेल रहे हैं ना. अच्छा, तुम आप खुद के बारे में बात कर रहे हो. ओके, फाइन. नहीं, बट आई थिंक इट्स आल्सो एप्लीकेबल टू द प्लेयर्स. चैट में सब लोग अर्ली राइजर्स है या यू प्रेफर, लाइक इफ यू वर चेस प्लेयर्स चैट competing in tournaments, would you prefer an afternoon game or a morning game? I don't understand. Harshit आए और चले गए. I'm not figuring this out very well, but we will wait for him. Queen D2. Video says afternoon. Devang Joshi says morning. Oh, by the way, before you decide on your answers, let me remind you once again that European players, even grandmasters, prefer afternoon rounds. So if you actually opt for a morning round, you will have a small unfair advantage over there because you will be more alert because you are used to these Indian timings. Na? So, soch lo. Yes, we will get Harshit on the camera very soon. We are also trying to do that from our end. He will join us. Don't worry. क्या? सब्र का फल मीठा होता है. क्वीन D2. नाइट ना. कोटर वंस राउंड इन द नाइट ओनली. दिन में मुझे खेलना ही नहीं है. दिन में मैं मेरे बाकी काम करूंगा. Joyston says we can lose at any time, but you should increase your chances of winning ना. मतलब whatever helps, वो चीजें हमने करनी चाहिए so that small improvements lead to big results. Oh, Gukki Reza very smart. He says, I already took that into account, Soumya. That's why I said morning. That's why you're so smart, Gukki Reza. And Ayan says, I would always prefer an afternoon game. Queen D2 on the board. So, beware. Beware of the check on H7. We have seen this pattern earlier in the tournament as well. So, just to show you the trick once more, I'm sure many of you remember. Knight C7, Queen H6, check. Bishop G7 खेलोगे या Rook G7? क्या खेलोगे आप with black? या will you move your king away? Let's go. I hate Shah says, I have no idea. Can anyone tell Soumya's a GM? I'm a WGM and an IM. So thank you, Hecha. You started following the tournament today, you say. That's great. Welcome. And Hecha, no. Someone asked me, yeah, Mahwood asks me, do you think Sindar will win today? मेरे सोचने या नहीं सोचने से कौन उसे रोकेगा? I think he's in red hot form. It it's anybody's guess, even if he makes a draw. It actually depends on whether he gets his opening prep or not. I think a lot of things depend on that, So, producer ji, आज से pairings का candidates छे? एकदा चेक करून सांगता का, म्हणजे मला थोडी तरी आयडिया येईल थोडं गेस वर्क करायला. BG7. Yes, all of you want to play BG7. Some people want to play the rook. Rook move karna is dangerous in these positions. First of all, conceptually, you don't want to block your bishop. Like bishop on h8 is the most miserable piece. Sorry, miserable piece on the board right now once you play rook g7. Secondly, you might lose an exchange really quickly with maybe knight b5, knight d5. Knight e4 is a good idea actually. Knight e4 threatens bishop g7, it threatens knight d6 in case of e5. नाइट g5 भी है, तो बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस हैं. सो क्वीन rook g7 is not a move you want to make. You want to try and make bishop g7 work in these positions. But your problem I see is that queen h7 मर रहा है. So queen h7 के आगे एक मूव देखनी है हमें कि rook h8 के बाद we attack the queen and it has nowhere to come back. Just the g6 pawn blocks the queen's path and we have to give it up. तो इसीलिए ये tactical pattern अगर आप याद रखेंगे, you will never be afraid of the check on h6 anymore in such positions unless your dark squared bishop is missing from the board. In that case, a check on h6 can be dangerous. Queen d2 met with bishop g7, check avoid ही कर दो हमेशा के लिए. खाना खा के नींद आती है, ऐसा गोवन डेसिमल इज सेइंग, एंड दैट्स व्हाई यू डोंट वांट टू प्ले इन द आफ्टरनून. देयर इज अ प्लेयर, you know, there is a player who's playing in this tournament, Indian player. I will not tell the name. Maybe you can make a wild guess. Playing very well so far. For a really long time, he used to skip either breakfast or lunch every day because it suited him better. क्योंकि same explanation. खाना खा के नींद आती है, तो गेम से पहले ही wanted to feel light. तो अगर ब्रेकफास्ट मिस किया तो ही वुड हैव लंच एंड गो फॉर द गेम, या तो लंच मिस करके बस ब्रेकफास्ट करके ही वुड प्रिपेयर फॉर द गेम एंड देन गो टू द राउंड. Nihal is a very good guess. He might be one also. I don't know. Nihal is a great guess, but it's not Nihal I'm talking about. Oh, yes, we have the pairing of the candidates for tonight on the screen. Um, So Sundarov playing Anish Giri. Oh my God. In my tier list, which I made in January and which was very impromptu, ज़्यादा thought नहीं डाला था मैंने उस पे. It was live on stream. So one of my favorites to win the candidates was Anish Giri. Of course, and Anish has 2 games left with Sundarov because this is his first game in the tournament against the tournament leader. Actually, I'm quite optimistic, now that I think about it, because about Anish's chances, I mean, because Sindaro, of course, very strong player, no doubt, great energy, great confidence, uh, in form, all the momentum is on his side. But one of the main reasons why he's been getting these hot streaks is because of his preparation. And what is Anish Giri known for? His opening preparation. So we will see an amazing game today, no doubt, because there's going to be a lot of good preparation that we are going to witness. But also the chances of Sindarov out preparing Anish are very low. So I think it's going to be a big fight on the board. And I don't see Anish losing today. Let me put it this way. I don't know if Sindarov, I think it might be a draw. That is what I'm predicting. We'll see. What are your predictions? Maybe you guys can also predict because yes, very good chances for Sindaro to win. Anish might be able to out prepare him, get a great position, and then outplay him as well. All 3 results are possible. My prediction is it's a draw. Wonder Kid. Sindarov in no hurry today. He might go for dead draw and kill the game today. Acha. I agree Sindarov is in no hurry, but I don't think he's the kind of player who will kill the game in any situation. He has so much fire and hunger within him right now. He's going to fight it out on the board, and then if it's a draw, you take it and go home. That's my feeling. But nice. I mean, I'm very curious to know your opinions because maybe, I have a feeling that many of you are following the tournament more closely than me because I'm also commentating on this tournament. So I am following this tournament much more than the candidates. So you might have a better idea of the form of the players right now. Uh, are you an Anish Giri fangirl? Sach batao, Kings ke. Uh, Fangirl nahi bolungi. I think he's a great guy, and I did a lot of streams with him during lockdown, and it was such a joy because he's a very nice guy. I mean, that's how I would describe him, and a great guy to have in your team or to be in the team of. So I think I'm usually rooting for him if he's playing a tournament, and I'm really happy for him if he does well. Um, Tronny, come on, guys, get off with those Tronish jokes. We don't believe them here. Um, let's see. ओके व्हाट आर द अदर पेयरिंग्स और उसके बाद हम अपने गेम पे आ जाते हैं वेई इज प्लेइंग एसिपेंको हिकारू इज प्लेइंग ब्लू बाउम ओके maybe Hikaru gets his first win today maybe because he has nothing to lose anymore. I believe that's how I look at it, so he might go all out and try. He needs to just get his fighting spirit. I don't know how to put it, but sometimes when nothing is going your way, you need to somehow motivate yourself to play your chess and keep trying. So let's see if Hikaru can break the. I think, yeah, Blue Baum lost yesterday, no, against Fabi, or was it a draw? Okay, so Hikaru has a good chance. Fabi versus Prague. Oh, wow. This is the other game. Sindaro, Anish, and Prague versus Fabi are the two games I will watch out for. And yeah, I'm rooting for Prague to get the win. We will see what happens. Mm, and Divya is playing Lano. Big, big match there. And Vaishali playing Tanzongi. Oof. Uh, Predictions. I think tough match for both of them. Um, I can't predict, man. These two boards I can't predict. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen. And Goryachkina will play Zujiner. Okay, let's go. Guys, maybe you can predict. Acha, Divya winning. Okay, then. Let's come back to our screen. Yes, we have Magnus going into a deep think, or has his screen frozen? I believe his screen has frozen, producer Ji, hai na? Yeah, no, he's moving. Okay. I thought he's just tired. Seems like that. He looks tired.
Hello. I'm back.
Hello, Harshit. Welcome back.
How's
Let's
it
get
going?
you on the screen. You're looking super dapper today.
Thank you.
अच्छा इसीलिए इतनी देर लगाई है कि ऐसे तैयार होके आएंगे लाइक देर तो लगेगी. It was worth the wait, guys. Don't
Worth
you
the
think
wait.
it was worth the wait?
I don't know if they can see me yet.
They can. You're on the
Oh,
screen.
really?
Yes.
Let's go. Guys, मैग्नस क्या कर रहा है यार, खेल ही नहीं रहा है।
Yeah, he seems a bit tired, Harshit. Don't you think so?
फ्रेंच राजा।
फ्रेंच येतं का तुला, हर्षित?
पुतीपू।
हा हा. महत्वाचे शब्द आले पाहिजेत, नाही का? प्रत्येक भाषेत.
तो
ज्यांच्याशी बोलायचंय त्यांच्याशी बोलता आलं पाहिजे.
नाही, मी कोणाशीच नाही बोलत असं.
Oh, अच्छा. बरोबर. Which game do you want to focus on? Any French players here or we go to Hans Niemann's board?
Let's go to Hans Niemann's board. I mean, him and Vincent are the only two players on full points. And look at this. Hans goes for this e3 knight c2 concept.
Which you have been talking about, and he goes for it. And black भी same copy paste कर रहे हैं. Oh, let's see this, Harshit. If black also goes e6.
Okay. d4. You
Okay,
wanted to play
let me be
d5.
silly. Let me be silly and play d5.
Silly. cd5.
Oh, you'll take, okay.
Because the thing is now ed5, dc5, I might be winning a pawn, no?
ed5, dc5, and my pawn is falling because you have a little too many attacks on my poor pawn in the
And can
center.
we get Hans's camera as well if we have that?
So d5, I was wondering if I can go knight d5 instead. Try to be sneaky, but the bishop is well guarded. So maybe you just pick it up and say, okay, I win a pawn anyway. cd5, a good move. Oh, shit. That's why d5 does not work. What if I take on d4 first?
Now I'll take back with the e pawn. And you'll play d5.
Now I want to go d5.
Yeah, and this I'm a bit more scared about because this looks really solid for black. And you can see Maxime Vacher-Lagrave in the background there. The French number 2 player. Number 1 is Firouzja, who we are missing in this tournament. And then we can see Alexei Sarana, Ivan Saric, all of them curious to know what's happening on board number 1, guys. Yes, thanks a lot, Kings KN, for your wishes. It's always nice. It's just not so easy to get back to everyone, but I really appreciate all these messages.
This could be a decent way to play. We will see if Vincent goes for it. What else could be an idea for black here, Harshit?
Soumya, after these 5 rounds
Mm-hmm.
that you have commentated here of freestyle, you have predominantly only been playing classical chess. Does this motivate you to play freestyle or try it? Or do you think that you would still want to play classical chess over this?
No, I'm 100% motivated to play because, I'll be very honest. I
Yeah,
used to
yeah.
watch the
We want you to be
freestyle.
honest.
I used to watch the freestyle commentary streams earlier when I had not yet commentated or followed the games myself so much. I would
Mhm.
not understand much what's going on, to be honest, because मैंने खेला ही नहीं था.
Hmm.
मुझे समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा है पीसेस ऐसे क्या स्ट्रक्चर है, कहाँ पे लेके जाना है. तो मैं थोड़ा फॉलो करके थोड़ा समझती थी, बट बिकॉज आई हैव नॉट मेड दोज मूव्स माई सेल्फ, मुझे चेस में ज्यादा फॉलो ही नहीं कर पा रही थी वो टूर्नामेंट्स.
Hmm.
बट when I started playing freestyle Friday myself, I started to understand little bit at least कि अच्छा ये भी हो सकता है, वो भी हो सकता है. But that was also very less practice. Commentating on this event has made me understand it so much better because we are spending 4 hours, 8 hours every day only looking at freestyle chess.
Yeah.
And I think spending time on something is the only way to understand it.
And
That
guys,
is
Soumya explained this concept really well actually. That for freestyle chess, you kind of need to, it's like some sort of an acquired taste. And I think that if you have the chance and you are interested, try to play some over the board games. Over the board खेल भाई, over the board खेलने का मजा ही अलग है. By the way, you know, Vishy Vishwanathan Anand sir joined the chess.com India stream, and someone mentioned like OTB or something like this, and Vishy was like, it's crazy that people call it OTB now. Yeah, I used to just call it chess.
Oh my God, that's so true. Harshit, I'm sure a lot of chess players, upcoming chess players, may not have a chess board at home.
Yeah, so they
That's
have to play
very much
online. Yeah,
possible, no? They only play online. Are you carrying a chessboard with you, Harshit? Big questions need
I
to be
am
asked.
not carrying a chessboard with me, Soumya. And I know that you are someone who always has a chessboard. Guys, okay, I think I've said this story before, but I was playing a tournament a few months back in Hooghoven in Netherlands, and I was rooming with a very passionate chess player, yours truly, Soumya. And then, it was like after the game, I used to relax, my style, yeah. I used to try to just be in a good mood. And then I used to see Soumya and I used to feel so like, uh, I used to feel a bit awkward there because she used to be so enthusiastic about putting out her board and reading from a book. And this is the kind of passion Soumya has for chess, actually. It's crazy.
Thanks, Harshit. But I don't. I think everyone has a different way of approaching chess. Maybe you think about it in your mind. You also mentioned that you think about the game while walking around on
Yes.
in your game itself, right? During the game itself.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I also really love chess, guys. It might not seem like it, but
No, I think everyone simply has a different approach to chess. I mean, I remember used to play bullet and this 30 seconds, 10 seconds, or maybe it was 10 second and 1 second. Please correct me, whatever it was.
hmm, ultra
During,
bullet.
yeah, during lockdown all night long, no? With you had this group of, I'm
Yeah,
sure Nihal was a part of it.
Nihal, Arjun, Sankalp was there. Sometimes Divya used to join. Srinath was there, and Soumya. We used to play like from 10-11 p.m. And then we used to. I'm not even joking. Sometimes stop when the sun is out. And in the
Oh.
middle of that whole duration, many times my parents used to check on me because I used to scream, yeah, when I used to like mouse slip, or I used to like throw my mouse or just rage a little bit, and then my parents would be like, is everything okay? It was a good time.
Yes, that is also passion for chess. And there are different ways to show your passion. Everyone here is also passionate, I believe, watching our streams for
Yeah,
4 hours every day. Not easy task. Lot of things they must be putting aside or doing on the side while watching us. So thank you guys
yeah,
for
thanks a
joining.
lot, guys, for joining. Do consider subscribing. We are getting closer and closer to 3 million, Soumya.
Wow.
Imagine, yeah. I'm waiting for that. I'm hoping it comes soon. 3 million subscribers. क्या ही crazy हो जाएगा.
अरे मेरे को पता है ऐसा लग रहा है अभी रिसेंटली तो 1 मिलियन हुए थे
अरे
अभी मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि अभी तो हुए थे और अभी 3 मिलियन मतलब क्या बात है ऐसे लग रहा है मुझे
and we have Sahaj in the chat. GM Sahaj, let's go.
आई
What a panel.
थैंक यू व्हाट अ चैट वी हैव
Yeah, the chat level has suddenly decreased a little bit. Just joking here, but look at this. Jan Nepomniachtchi also.
Oh, I have a question for Sahaj. Sahaj, what do you think is going to happen in Sindara versus Anish Giri's game today? We were discussing that a few minutes ago. आप वहाँ यहाँ पे थे नहीं. Any thoughts?
I think I think Sahaj is a big fan of Sindarov. So
Oh, really?
let's see actually.
And what are your thoughts, Harshit? You were also not here. I was discussing with the chat.
Who is white?
Sindarov is white.
Okay, I think it will be a draw. I think Anish is super well prepared.
Oh, he says, you mean Vindarov. Oh, nice. Nice nickname there, huh? We
By the
got
way,
it.
E5 was a little bit of a surprising move
Huh.
because yes, it gains space, but on the other hand, it weakens the d5 square.
What about our bishop?
And look at that water moving inside the bottle. Change now.
So it weakens the d5 square permanently. It also blocks our bishop's path.
Maybe
But,
it's time to go for some sort of f4.
oh, really?
Maybe.
Crazy.
And if ef you take with the g pawn or even the rook, maybe.
Rook.
I guess with the g pawn makes more sense.
Hmm. You can go f5 if you get the chance.
And then I feel like, yes, we are exposing our king, but the pawns on d2, e3, e4 are kind of making sure that black cannot give us a check.
Mhm. All the checks are blocked. Ah, nicely explained there, actually. And the e5, knight can't come to e5 as well. The pawn on f4 does a brilliant job of covering all the crucial squares. And the pawn on e3 controls the square d4, which is actually this is a very good structure for white.
This is actually, I think this f4 concept can happen, but Hans goes for knight d5 instead. He goes for this move knight d5. I have a feeling that if black takes on d5, Hans might recapture back with the pawn as well.
Yeah, because the knight is very odd, na Harshit? Once we take with the pawn.
Exactly. And then we can even break in the center with d4.
D4. Oh my God. Knight E7. You want to go D4. Oof.
The only problem with this is that black can sometimes have this strategic concept of going CD, ED, E4. It's a very important strategic concept, Soumya, because we want to fix the black pawn on white pawn on D4, which is like, kind of restricting the white bishop on E1. And you can not say that about the bishop on H8
Hmm.
because it's actually putting pressure on that pawn.
Hmm.
So I think black would have a small strategic upper hand here.
Yeah, this is a very good point. That E4. Actually, these moves are easily missed in our calculation. You only calculate capture, 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 and you will be like, huh, TK. Black will capture back. I'll capture with my bishop. I'll get to trade this good bishop. Why not? But
Yeah.
then
And
your
Sahaj
opponent
is like, is this even chess 960? Because it's so close to a normal position, right?
Yeah, they actually, I'll show you the starting position, Sej. They started from this one,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the king is on f1, the bishops are on the two corners of the board, the knight is on e1, and they managed to simply play normal moves, which we play in standard chess, and got a regular position.
Yeah. Actually, this is a completely normal position, and white being up a tempo as a teeny tiny bit of an initiative. But Soumya, look at Arvind and Karthikeyan's board
Mhm. Yeah,
because
let's go.
they have went into the line we were talking about.
Are, yes, we discussed this.
Yeah, like we have total symmetry.
Yeah, we were discussing it on Hans's board actually, but Vincent went for e5 in that game, but here e6 structure by Arvind.
Yeah.
You know, they are very good friends, Harshit. So
Actually,
I
you are
guess
saying no, I
they're
don't
like,
think they will make a draw. I think they are definitely playing for a win because if you make a draw in this crucial round,
mhm,
Soumya,
mhm,
it's not going to be easy to get a prize, especially because of the amount of players you really need to score. Because generally after 5 rounds, you don't expect two players to be on full points, but इतने सारे लोग खेल रहे हैं कि this kind of becomes normal.
hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. So white played rook to e1 and rook
अरे
e8 is not possible, guys. You cannot copy anymore. Why can't you copy anymore?
Soumya, Sehaj asks,
Huh,
I guess rook e8 is an interesting question, but
huh.
the d5 pawn ka control can go away, guys. So maybe we have to be careful that we don't miss our pawn on d5.
Hmm.
Black would still have some compensation, but an interesting question. But I think the answer is kind of rhetoric, where is Magnus scoring 4.4 and a half out of 5 crazier or Cinder of scoring 5.5 out of 6?
You want to take this one, Harshit?
I think honestly, he means that it's surprising that Magnus did not win all of his games.
Hmm.
But no, I mean, guys, yesterday I made a small recap about the candidates round six, and I said that this candidates is, turning out to be all about this one player. All eyes are on Sindarov Javokir right now because what he's doing is unprecedented. The stars in Uzbekistan have aligned for him and he's just on a roll. But that being said, we are not even at the halfway mark. So I don't think we can already conclude that we are going to have an Uzbek versus India World Championship match. I think we are, on the contrary, quite far away from that conclusion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but okay, that's actually very interesting because a lot of people are saying it's over. You are saying it's very much open. Yes, and you're right, not even halfway. Yeah? I didn't even realize that. थोड़े ज्यादा point बना दिए उन्होंने.
Yeah.
जैसा realize नहीं होता है कि अच्छा second half अभी बाकी है. By the way, today Harika is playing against Levon Aronian with the white pieces, and I'm really keen to know what she has chosen. We went through the opening moves, Harshit.
Ooh, Harika actually gets the kind of position she likes. No, somewhere she likes these stable and solid positions. And I, I won't be surprised if Harika manages to hold herself against Levon in this position.
Sahaj is saying, I saw a crazy stat yesterday. Gukesh won 5 games in total when he won in 2024, and Sindarov has already done that.
Yeah.
It is. It is a very big surprise, and it's showing what is possible also. You know, you never think that in candidates tournament someone can score so highly, and then a guy comes and does it, and you're like, oh, really? This was possible. I didn't realize that. Yes, Harshit, you were explaining the position.
I actually really like White's position here, Soumya, because I'm waiting for Black to take on d4, and then I will put my I will put one of the pieces on d4. You know, in these IQB positions, it's quite important that you have a piece as white on d4.
So
I
you're
guess the
waiting.
problem would be that,
Maybe this one you want to.
yeah, I mean, if you play bishop b7, just to illustrate, after knight cd4, white is extremely happy here.
Yes. I think, yeah, that's why he didn't take CD here because I think it's okay if white takes with the knight on d4 because then you play knight c6. Sorry, let's go. Oh no, knight e6 is not possible because, guys, why is knight e6 not possible? Guys, why would knight e6 be a mistake? Because after all, our queen is attacked, and once our queen moves, we are threatening d4.
Soumya, actually, I can just sense has improved so much in freestyle chess in the last few days, I think, because from compared to day one, where she was kind of finding her path into how these players are playing, I think now you can already see some concepts, right? Like where the pieces belong, how these unusual moves can actually be quite strong in this format.
Yeah, exactly. It really helps that we get to commentate on the games of Magnus, Levon, Vincent, the best in freestyle chess in the world. So that really helps. You're getting to learn uh, from the best possible material out there.
And guys, you're absolutely right. Arya Shah, Guki Reza, Ajin, knight takes d5, free pawn, because when black is attacking your queen, you can counter attack. Array, no!
Wrong.
Tricked
Why?
you! Tricked all of you, including myself. Oh
Oof.
man,
Let's
there
see what
might
we are
be
missing.
queen g5 or what? No.
Let's see what we are missing, Harshit. This is ridiculous that it doesn't work. Okay, guys, knight d4, knight takes e7.
Oh! Oh! Call an ambulance, but not for white.
For white only ना, वो
I'm
black को
joking.
लग के क्या होगा? King h8, and who wants to take the rook on c8? Let's take it, and now there's a checkmate on the white king because our bishop is on h1. Usually a
God.
bishop g2 पे होता है, and that's why these patterns don't work, but this is freestyle chess and the bishop controls the g2 square. That's why it's checkmate. बाप रे, this is a blunder. अभी तो तुम मेरी तारीफ कर रहे थे और मैंने दो ब्लंडर कर दिए बोर्ड पे, हर्षित. इसलिए किसी की ऐसी जल्दी तारीफ नहीं करनी चाहिए. पता नहीं बाद में जीवन में क्या करे, थोड़ा कंट्रोल करो.
The good old human being, I actually crossed 2500. I was 2472 before March, but then I played St. Louis, and then I played Houston, and then I played in Munster, and I did increase about 35 points. So I'm about
वाह,
2505 now.
क्या बात है. And it's
Yes.
not easy to increase 35 points with that rating and a coefficient of 10. Like a lot of people increase, let's say we hear this news of 200, 300 points बढ़ गए एक ही cycle में, but then they have a coefficient of 40 or 20. But once you cross 2400 rating, आपका coefficient 10 हो जाता है और उसके बाद बहुत धीरे rating बढ़ती है. So I
Yeah.
think 35 points is awesome.
I got very lucky, guys. So now I will be commentating more so that don't use too much of my luck. So, by the way, we have some moves on the top board, and then
हाँ.
we can check Magnus's game as well quickly to see if there is any developments there.
Hmm. Okay, so we will go there. Harika has played knight g4.
Oh, Harika is going knight g4. 1 second. Now this game suddenly interests me because if h5, does she want to go knight h6 check? Because the knight, where is it going?
h5. A lot of possibilities here. Even queen h6 comes to mind, but maybe knight h6. Let's look at that. Knight
Knight
h6.
h6. If you
Bapre,
go
king.
king h7, then I have knight takes f7. Boom.
Knight f7, and guys, what will happen for queen takes f7? It's quite easy. I'm sure all of you can find the tactic here.
Guys, फटाफट आंसर दे दो. 50 लोग चाहिए at least.
Oh, fantastic there.
Yes,
Knight
Deepan,
g5. Top answer.
Saisan, Naman, Hetsha, Omlan, CR7 goat, knight g5 check wins the black queen. And that's why after knight g4, what will Levon do?
Knight
I'm,
g4, h5 is ruled out, है ना? क्योंकि knight h6, king f8 is terrible. I mean, it will
yeah, it
lose.
feels wrong. This feels wrong because white can
King
always
f5.
jump knight g5,
Oh,
knight f5. Ah.
I wanted to go knight f5, but it's too much, I think.
Soumya is having
Knight
fun already. But I think knight g5 is simple, yeah, simple dimple. And we are doing well here. Soumya, knight g4 के बाद I have a feeling Levon might just simply play knight e6 so that white का knight g5 कभी आएगा ही नहीं.
किसी को बिशप g7 जाने में इंटरेस्ट नहीं है क्या?
But now dc5, no?
I mean, finally our king will come to g7. So, okay, let's take. I want to at least find out. Okay,
No,
this
but
is
takes
wrong.
queen h6. It's looking really dangerous.
The queen c3 also is good, but queen h6
Yes.
even better because
And now rook takes c5, Soumya.
oh,
Boom.
no knight g5. Huh? Rook takes c5. But
Perhaps.
knight g5 also looks good, no?
Yes, yes. Knight g5 also looks good, Soumya.
Maybe not enough, just looks good. Not not enough for a win, maybe. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, I'm having a lot of fun here. I should control. Rook c5, a great move by Harshit, deflecting the queen, which does not work. So what could it be? Harshit's idea was, guys, queen c5 को क्या खेलोगे आप?
Queen c5. I think it's
Two
too
moves.
easy.
Mate in two. Good old human being says fun is the point of life, never control fun. Oh, thank you.
So sweet.
Yeah, exactly, Hecha. Why Ivalbar gives advantage to black? It looks like +1 for white without engine. I agree.
I also agree. By the way, an absolutely crazy game of Leon Mendonça is happening.
Yes, let's go there. Many people in the chat. Mridul Gupta, Omlan, Dipankar, Ajin, Sai Sharan, V Gaving Shots, all of them have found the checkmate in two pattern. Hey, by the way, Ajinkya had a mate in two contest during GCL and he had to find this checkmate pattern, not with the queen, but with the rook on a7.
Uh-huh.
And he found it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was so proud of him.
Wow. Yeah,
I
it's
gave him
not,
a gift
it's
also.
a really nice pattern actually to box the black king in the corner of the board and then check him. And guys, this would be checkmate. So now Soumya, Harika, even though the engines don't like her position, by the way,
Hmm.
knight g4 ke baad, what was the move?
And e6 was played and it's Harika's turn to make a move, but
Yeah.
it is promising. I think her position is promising. We can
Yes.
go to Leon's board.
We can go to check Leon's board because look at
ये
how
क्या?
creatively these players are playing. Wow.
What?
Look at Black's last move, Soumya.
Knight b5 happened. So the knight moved away, threatening to take the bishop. Black took the knight. White took the bishop on h8, not the knight. And then, instead of capturing the bishop back, black goes knight to d4.
Wow.
I love this move.
And
This,
guys, the point is that if you take the knight on d4 and then black takes the bishop on h8, the knight on d4 will have an outpost as black.
Mhm.
This is the reason why Leon played knight d4. And look at Leon's rating actually. For some reason, it says it's 2676. Maybe his freestyle rating is quite good, yeah?
It says 2595 on my screen.
Ah, okay. So maybe on leeches it's mistaken. Mhm.
So, knight b d4 is a fantastic find by Leon Mendonça. I love this move. It's the best move of the round so far. Knight d4. We will see if anybody can top this. Bishop
Yeah.
takes.
And then C takes for sure will happen. It did. And
सोच रहे हैं.
He's thinking. So I think I wouldn't say like black is better or anything. I think black is around equal. White, I mean, white might even still have some small edge, but very creative game that is developing here. And I think now, Soumya, it's time to go to the top boards again to check what's happening in the games of Magnus and also the game of Hans. Here we have his camera, so we can stick to this. We have this water bottle angle.
Can Abhyudaya please go and keep it down? Keep that bottle down.
No, no, no.
I
This is
don't know how to
this is
fix
not
it.
our camera.
Oh,
This
it's
is
the
the
organizer's camera.
organizer's camera, and the players have kept their water bottles there. So um, that's the situation. But this game seems to be petering out, Soumya. No,
Yeah,
as
deep white.
as I was saying that, look, 95, T6, T4, break in the center, chop chop, and knight E6.
And now because the knight on d5 uh is on d5, we cannot have this idea. So that's why 96 at an opportune moment.
D takes C5.
Yeah, too many pieces getting exchanged, Harshit.
Yeah, and we kind of have this symmetry in the pawn structure. Bishop A1, Rook A1, and I could actually see Hans having a look at Vincent's eyes कि भाई draw करना है.
So tell me, Harshit, you are a grandmaster. We know a lot of grandmasters take these decisions. They'll be leading a tournament, and instead of piling on the momentum, they will actually say, no, today I'm going to take a draw, maintain my lead.
Soumya, we need to know whom to play against to win. Because, Vincent might simply not be the opponent you want to play for a win against. Vincent is super creative, and if you take too many chances against him, he is going to fight back and you might even lose. So I think this is some sort of a game theory planning by Hans ki, okay, Vincent ke saath, let's just see if it's a draw, it's not a bad result.
Hmm. So knowing when to take your chances.
Muy importante.
ऐसे नहीं कि हमेशा ही रिस्क लेना है, कभी कभी सेफ खेलना है, कभी कभी रिस्क लेना है. अच्छा टिप है.
So Hans takes on c5. What about Magnus?
Magnus, let's go to Magnus board. Oh, he went for a completely different setup than the ones we've seen so far. He went for this d3 pawn push. We were wondering what he's going to do next. e6, queen d2 was played, bishop g7, and f4, Harshit, your move, which you've been suggesting in a few positions, was played here. f5, knight to f3, short castle, e4 by white. White is not bothering to castle yet. Knight
Yeah.
d4. And finally, short castle on the board, d6. We have a pretty standard position after 10 moves. But 1 hour consumed by Magnus on the clock.
Yeah, Magnus has been taking his time. Can we get his camera as well? We have the camera of Vincent, but can we move to Magnus's board? Because Magnus with the white pieces is in a tournament situation where he should play for a win.
Hmm.
Because he only has two more white games remaining after this. And this means that he has to play for a win because otherwise Vincent or Hans might have a 1 point lead over him. So Magnus knows this, and we kind of have a situation where, Sindarov is leading with 1.5 point, and someone like Fabi needs to start taking his chances. So Magnus, what will he play? He played Rook CE1, is it?
Knight e2.
92.
Is still on c1. Knight e2. He wants to exchange the knight as well as the dark squared bishop. Pawn नहीं जा रही क्या e4 पर? नहीं जा रही है. Because we pick up the pawn on d4. So let's just show this. Pawn takes will be met with knight takes d4, pawn takes, and take with the bishop, right? Oh
I
no.
thought take with the knight.
Yeah, you're right, Harshit. Taking with the bishop apparently is not a good move. Taking with the knight makes much more sense. And
You're winning a pawn because the e6 pawn is falling and the e4 pawn is falling, and this looks really good for white. So after knight to e2, I think it's quite logical for black to consider taking the knight on f3, and then after bishop f3 to consider taking the bishop on a1.
oh, really? Not knight f6? You will take on
Yeah, I
a1.
will take on a1, rook a1, and then simply play knight to f6. And this position looks quite balanced to me. And I think Sarana, Sarana's strategy should be to play as solid as possible. And who knows if Magnus, goes overboard and pushes too hard, Sarana can get his chances. Guys, Sarana is the one who was having an advantage against Jan Nepomniachtchi yesterday. So he's not at all a rollover by any means for Magnus. He's actually a very, very strong player.
Whenever I hear his name Sarana, I sing a song. There are a few players. उनका नाम सुनो तो मुझे ऐसे गाना ही याद आता है जैसे डूडा 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 मकर कैसा एक गाना था राइट एक स्पैनिश गाना वो एंड देन सराना का वो है सराना सराना हुआ दिल पहली लाइक दैट बहारा राइट लेट मी नो
Bahara, Bahara. I know, I know.
पहली बार वे like that so
Mhm.
I sing their name in a tune in my head.
Soumya, you actually have a very good voice. I wish I had a good voice.
But that wish, whatever voice we are given, that only we can. How can you change your
What you can
how can
improve
you
it.
make a wish?
What? No, you can improve it. No, you like there are these
Voice
like
modulation.
yeah.
So do you do voice modulation, Harshit?
Not yet.
Actually, you know what? Okay, this is really off topic, but since we were also singing a bit, I read that Arijit Singh, he's such a loved singer today, but he came in Indian Idol many years ago and he was rejected or he did not go till the end. One
Who?
of the two things happened. Arijit Singh.
Oh.
And after that, he became such a big star, right? Singing star. And the difference was that he learned to modulate his voice.
Hmm.
So he does not sing in his original voice. He actually sings in a different voice now, which is more loved. So that was news to me. मुझे लगता था सारे singers born singers होते हैं, with that voice quality, but he actually developed it.
And no, actually, I know this that they also wake up really early in the morning and they have to do their riyaz because my cousin does it, and it's a lot of hard work actually in order to make sure that your throat, uh, is in a very good condition.
Yeah, you can't
A lot
eat
of
ice
conditioning.
cream. You can't eat ice cream और फिर सुबह उठ के gargling करना है.
Yeah. Guys,
सब
मैं जब
सब
खाता हूँ
फील्ड
तो
में मेहनत करना
हाँ.
है. सब फील्ड में मेहनत करना है. ऐसे नहीं कि बस चेस में ही मेहनत करना है, बाकी फील्ड में तो ये लोग ऐसे ही गाना गाते रहेंगे ना,
Yeah,
ऐसे थोड़ी
exactly.
होता है. हम्म. बोलो बोलो, तुम क्या बोल रहे थे?
No, I was saying like now let's understand what Magnus is thinking because knight f3, bishop f3, and
हाँ.
what was Alexi Sarana's move?
Yes, let's go. I think he took on f3,
Oh,
bishop
this has
takes,
happened.
bishop a1, rook a1, knight f6. All of this happened and very
Wow.
quickly.
Yeah, I actually have a feed where I can see the games live without delay.
दूरदृष्टि बोलते हैं उसको. So black has a threat, and if white pushes the pawn forward, how many of you want to push the pawn forward to e5,
But
guys?
guys, where is Vivek Bhai? Where is the camera of Magnus? Can we have his camera or because it's very interesting to see his expressions, right?
Yeah, I think the for the chat the cameras are AI cameras, so they
Yeah.
switch automatically. There seems to be a glitch sometimes, and that's why we don't get the player's camera instantly. But we're trying to fix it. So knight f6, knight c3 on the board. E5. I don't think it was a good move because I think we can take on f3, no, and
I mean,
then
there is also this DEF 94 business that you need to be careful about,
hmm.
even before taking on F3. But even now,
Oh, yeah, this looks a bit unfortunate for white. And the e5 pawn will actually be a permanent weakness because we don't get d4 in as easily. And the e5 pawn, even if we do, the e5 pawn would be an isolated pawn. So we don't want to push e5 here. Sometimes keeping our position as is the best way. Knight c3 on the board, queen d7. Sarana did draw against Ian Nepomniachtchi yesterday, and
yeah.
then he won his second game.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, he's also in very good form so far. Uh, Chess fan C2B says, Harshit, please sing a song.
अरे भाई, which song should I sing?
Dillagi, greatest book lover, is saying. I don't understand. Is that a song? Yeah, there used to be a song like that, but you wouldn't know it.
No, I don't know it.
Espanol song, Mahmood is saying.
Debí tirar más fotos de cuando de tú pude. Debí dar que más beso y abrazo las veces que pude. Ojalá que los míos nunca se muden. Y si me voy borracho, pues que me ayuden. You know this?
No, I don't know this song.
This DTMF by Bad Bunny.
What does it mean?
You can check later.
I don't even know what to Google.
No, it's basically like Debi Tira Mas photos. I should have taken more pictures
Hmm.
when we were together, and I should like base. It's like a some sort of a song which got really popular. Actually, it was one of the most popular songs, like Despacito. You know,
Hmm.
Despacito. Mm.
रुके even on the board, Harshit.
Soumya is like बस हो गया ये सब.
मेरे कान थोड़े से I need some, yeah, I need to like break this pattern and go to another topic. रुके even on the board. Pawn takes तो अच्छी बात नहीं है. We want to go. What do you want to do? E5 नहीं खेल देंगे हम because knight d5 का square जा रहा है. D5 is not a D. D5 is something we want to consider or not, Harshit?
D5 I would be scared Soumya because at some point takes E5 और D4 आ जाएगा.
But E5 D4 ये अच्छा प्लान है.
Hmm.
E5 or D4 by black might be a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
So what's
let's
the
see the
live position, Abhi?
rook E1. That's the
Okay.
live position.
Now Soumya. Yes. Your turn to sing.
अरे नहीं रे बस झालं. फिर कभी.
It's freestyle singing, Soumya.
Rook E1 on the board. Let's see the players create some music over the board instead of us singing here.
No
Rook
sajni re.
D5. Hey, D5 is a good find. ऐसे ही तुक्का लग गया हमारा.
मैंने तो
e5
सोचा ही नहीं
queen.
था सौम्या, you are.
Anyway, d4. So black's idea is to go d4 every time you go e5.
Yeah, and the reason is because if white gets to play d4 himself, then white gets a really strong bind of the center. So d5, e5, if black, let's say, goes back knight to e8, then cd, ed, d4 is really good for white, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, this is such a powerful pawn in the center. Protected pass pawn. It will be blocked by a knight someday, but you will have other problems to solve by then. Like d5 pawn be hanging actually. Let's say knight c7. Maybe not that bad for black if you manage to bring a knight to e6, but that won't be easy.
Yeah, knight to e6, exactly. You need to always block the passed pawn with your knight. Oh, yeah, Sahaj is still here. He's like, it's a very sad song. It's kind of like a song, Papa Ute. It's a French song. You wipe to it and then you Google the lyrics and then you feel sad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But sad songs become very popular. You know, Channa Mereya used to be the
It's,
most listened
I
to song
love
back
that
then.
song. अच्छा चलता हूँ दुआओं में याद रखना.
नको हर्षित प्लीज माझी चांगली फेवरेट गाणी अशी तू गाऊन मला त्रास नको देऊस प्लीज थोडं कंट्रोल कर कंट्रोल लाईक
Okay. So he has not made his move yet, Alexi Sarana. Maybe we can check if Hans's board pay if there are any updates.
हम्म लेट्स गो
But I feel in general that singing or anything is not about how you sing, but it's about the passion with which you sing. But anyways, we'll come to this position now. And I think we don't have many moves,
हम्म
but I think that this is a very balanced position because now white has his knight on d5, black will put his knight on d4, and we have a symmetry.
हम्म yeah, it's. I mean, whose bishop is happier is the question. I think white's bishop is slightly happier than the black one because it doesn't have too many prospects, whereas white bishop can go to e4 someday.
Mhm.
That's the difference.
But we can trade that bishop, no?
How do you trade it?
I mean, whenever you go knight d4, I can always come back knight d3, no?
Sorry, how do you trade the bishop?
No, I
Knight.
mean, let's say that black plays knight d4
Huh.
and I just go back knight d3.
No, I was saying my bishop is better than yours. I don't want to trade it.
You think white bishop is better than black bishop?
Huh.
Interesting.
I think it has more scope in life. Like,
Hmm.
what is the black bishop doing?
Hmm. Interesting, yeah.
Actually, for me, these positions have always been a puzzle. Very symmetrical positions with no action happening in the center. There is no pawn break, nothing. All the pawns have been exchanged. And अभी क्या करने का आगे? सब कुछ तो कर लिया.
And you know, Soumya, as uh, as youngsters, as also players growing up, we were always told that this position is equal. And very often, what used to happen is that we did not analyze these equal positions. We used to just say that, okay, everything is equal and this should be a draw.
Yes.
And very often, even at 24, 25, 25, 50 level, I have seen a lot of people going wrong in these simple positions. And players like Magnus really start to put more effort in these kind of equal positions because they know that his opponents has started to relax.
Hmm.
So,
Exactly. I think a lot of people from the earlier generation faced this issue when they met Magnus, and then they were like, okay, now I need to analyze this rook ending also.
mhm,
Whereas earlier they would just offer draw and it would be accepted, है.
yeah. I mean, we saw that in candidates, in the FIDE candidates, where you almost lost a rook 3 pawn endgame to
Yeah.
Hikaru. I mean, that just goes to show you that a simple position doesn't mean that it's a draw automatically. You still need to play accurately.
You need to make it, and I have been on the receiving end as well as on the both sides of the game, but more on the receiving end, because grandmasters love to go for these symmetrical kind of positions against you, and they are like so that you relax and they take you out of your theory, and then they grind you, and then you fail to, then you maybe come under a lot of time pressure, which is in my case true, because you're hesitating, and that's when you start making mistakes.
Yeah.
uh, I honestly don't have any good advice for black here. Maybe knight to d4 could be a move here. Okay, but it's white's turn to move, so let's make a move here. Bishop g2. What do you think, Harshit? Or you want to improve your queen?
I'm actually thinking that this game is quite solid right now. So let me see if there is any other interesting game going on.
We can see what's Pranav doing. He's playing Arthur Yusupov,
By the way,
who,
we have a result.
oh,
Dominguez drew his game against Volodar Murzin.
oh yes.
And look at this. Such precise evaluation by Dominguez to notice that being down upon in this king pawn endgame is also a draw. It's 4 versus 3 on the queen side, guys, but the c4 and c3 pawns are doubled.
Mhm.
So this game ended in a draw.
You mean this is like, this is a draw?
I
That's
mean,
what you
they
mean,
just
right?
agreed to a draw in that position. So,
Because the king, like, can we show this? Like, because the king will reach.
yeah,
So you don't get to enter with your king. The king will reach a5. Yeah?
yeah, this is a draw. And then we can go to Nihal's board, or we can go to Nihal, or we can go to Arvind.
Yeah, it's a draw. Uh, Nihal, what is Nihal doing against Maxim? Oh, lot of pieces traded already. He has a outside passer though.
Yeah, Nihal is a pawn up, but Black's rook on f4 is a phenomenal piece. And Black wants to go rook g8, knight g4, and start having checkmating ideas. So I do think Maxim has good compensation here.
You know, he played f4 on the 20th move, Harshit. We were looking at this move with the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe on the 10th move itself, like over here, we were looking at this move f4, and he finally went for it after 20 moves. I mean, he had a choice to go f4 many times earlier as well, I guess. But theek hai. Finally goes for that idea of playing on the king side, and this is a trend in Nihal's game so far from the beginning, that all of his pieces have been on the queen side only. He's been playing on the queen side, and so once the attack starts coming in, his king will be left with only one defender.
Exactly. And
Right.
that's what concerns us a little bit about his position. But now he wants to go rook b8, and he wants to trade
Hmm.
one of the attackers of black. And the more pieces he trades, the closer he gets to having an advantage. So Nihal is having quite a decent position here. Maxim needs to prove his compensation still. And just to quickly also update you guys about the Indian Derby between Arvind and Karthikeyan, two good friends, it feels as if this game is heading towards the draw. If you scroll, yes, this one, as we have a lot of exchanges, and I think we are closer than ever to a draw. Right,
Yeah.
Soumya?
Yeah, I agree, हर्षित. यहाँ पे बहुत सारे पॉन्स एक्सचेंज हो गए. all the central pawns have been exchanged. So what will either side play for?
Yeah.
Quite clogged.
So that this game will quite likely end in a draw. And then Harika's game, which we were following, Harika is playing against Levon Aronian.
I think that must be a very spicy game actually, because there is an imbalance of the strength of the players. जब भी रहता है तभी at least एक side थोड़ा desperately try करता है या दूसरा side mistakes करता है, and then the games become more interesting.
Mhm.
uh, Knight e6 के बाद e3, bishop b7, rook fe1, which is a strange move, rook fe1, and then f5 was played. Knight e5, bishop takes, and it's white's turn to move, Harshit.
Yeah, this bishop takes e5 was a very nice decision by Levon.
Isn't it strange that she played e3 here, Harshit? We were looking at knight h6 ideas and so on, and she plays e3 blocking her queen? Or that's
Yeah.
normal?
Yeah, I mean e3 maybe she underestimated how strong f5 is
Hmm.
because it's an unusual concept that Levon played here to take on e5 with the bishop. And the point here is that it feels like the dark squares of black are completely weak. And I think this is what Harika missed, that after d5, d4, white cannot really take advantage of that. And in fact, the bishop on a1 is a bad piece, and the knight on e6 is a fantastic piece. And look at, by the way, Vincent's camera angle there. I think rook e3 and maybe a draw for on that board. Maybe there was a draw
Over
for
there.
on the top
Over
board.
that board.
I
Yeah,
think
they're smiling at Vincent is smiling, and Hans is looking at his opponent. Okay,
so. I
let's
guess
see on this
they
board.
offered a draw. Oh, low battery. Yeah, I think Vincent knows that this position is completely equal. So he's just making sure he doesn't have any chances. And then Magnus comes over to see what's happening in this position. Because now, with the tournament coming to its final few rounds, I think it makes sense to keep an eye on the tournament leader to know what you should do in your own game. So, was there a draw for or not? I don't know actually. It felt
Um,
like it.
yeah, it felt like it. The body language suggests that there was one, but Vincent taking his time to take his decision. Okay, we'll stick to this game maybe. Let's wait. Maybe they
He
do it.
takes on d5.
Acha. So he
So,
plays on.
bishop takes. For sure, you cannot take with the pawn and allow the c pawn to be passed. So, he takes with the bishop.
So
And
which is better, the knight or the bishop?
that's a tough question. A bit biased towards the knight, but one can make the argument for either piece. And I think queen d7, rook e8. Somehow I feel that both players are kind of ready for this game to finish in a draw, but they still are playing.
So b4 ideas don't necessarily worry black, because after b4 you don't have a next threat. If I take on c5, you take on c5.
Yeah, but I like this idea of b4 because then you at least you can go rook b1 and try to enter with the rook on b7.
Hmm. Yeah, for example, let's show this. Queen d7, b4, rook e8. I don't know if I want to take, to be honest, but okay, I just wanted to illustrate a point.
And
Take,
king
take,
g2, yeah.
And rook b1.
No, you have to go king g2 at some point, right? Because rook b1, queen h3,
I always have bishop g2, no?
queen h5.
Okay, let's show this.
This can
Then,
get dangerous with the black rook entering the attack.
okay. So you don't want to allow the queen to h3 and you want to go king g2. अच्छा रुक b1 आया नहीं but रुक b1 आया नहीं है तो I wanted to occupy the b file basically otherwise you will ना
Mm-hmm.
oh
Chess
apparently
fan C2B, this looks like some chat GPT message, bhai.
that camera angle is great
Yeah,
good
it's a
move
very nice
Grenke.
angle.
Yeah it is
By the
as
way,
if
who is this Hausrat Daniel who is playing against Abdusattar of Nordirbeck? I've actually not heard of this grandmaster. He's a German grandmaster taking on Nordirbeck, and he has a good position against Abdusattorov on board 4.
I think Germany has more number of grandmasters than India am I right or am I right let's Google it
Germany, yes, I think has more grandmasters than India.
which was a big surprise for me, by the way. Yes, 96 to 118 active chess grandmasters as of mid 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Huge surprise for me, to be honest. I didn't expect that, but no wonder they have a fantastic league called the Bundesliga, the German chess league, and it has three levels in the open category and in maybe three in female as well. I'm not sure. And a lot, they basically play games every weekend throughout the year.
Oh my God! Soumya
What?
blunder by Hans.
Uff, क्या?
Yeah, let's go to that game and look at Vincent's expressions.
Oh my God! Knight F3!
No way. And we were
Oh,
talking about you have to be accurate in these equal positions.
oh my God, look at Hans' expression. He actually did this. I wish that water bottle was not in the way, but
अरे
Bishop
हटाओ उस बॉटल
D5,
को.
Rook D8,
रुकिए
Rook
रुकी
A1 on the
वन.
board.
And he just missed knight f3 check. Oh no. And look at Hans. He's so scared. He's so scared because if and look at Vincent. He's like, what?
Of course he spots it. Yeah, of course he spots it. He is going to go for it. And you know what? It's Hans' expression also which helps his opponent. Don't you think so, Harshit? Like maybe keeping a poker face.
But how to keep a poker face
Sometimes
in this position? It's not easy. It's not easy to keep your
I
control here. And
can you
Vincent is
explain?
shocked to get
Yes,
this opportunity.
the explanation we will make once Vincent makes his move. We will show you why it works. But the move is knight f3 and white will gain an exchange because it is a fork. The knight can be taken by two pieces, but each capture leads to white losing something in return.
If you take with the rook, I mean, you lose the rook on e1. If you take with the bishop, then black takes the queen on d3. And then after you take back on d3, the rook on e1 falls. And black is just up a clean exchange and winning. And Vincent Keimer is going to move on to 6 out of 6. I met his mom and dad yesterday. They were super happy with Vincent's performance, and Vincent is going to make them even happier if he finds this move knight to f3 check. The local hero,
There is no way he misses it,
and he
especially
plays it.
having.
Boom! Knight to f3 check. And look at Hans. His expression says it all. You are careless for one moment, Soumya, just one moment, and the entire game can slip away. This is
Relax too
tough.
soon. Relax too soon. So many pieces got exchanged. Maybe Hans thought it is a draw. What are we waiting for? We were waiting for a blunder.
And for the tournament standings, this is such a big blow for Hans. He was playing quite well in this tournament. Even this game, he was playing quite accurately. And somehow he just completely forgot about this knight f3 check. This can happen. This can happen, Soumya, but for it to happen in this moment of the tournament is going to be very painful for Hans.
Yeah, and also blunders like these are very unusual in classical chess. I mean, classical time control. You have 1.5 hours for the full game. You're not playing a blitz game. I think blunders like this at a such a high level as these guys are playing are super rare. Lapse of concentration, nothing else but hard to
And
take, to
oh,
be
one
honest.
second. Did you see Jan's expressions? Look, look. Jan is like, what? What? He looked at the position and then he looked with a smile on Vincent's face. And of course, Vincent is ecstatic about this.
And I
My
love the camera angle about, where you can see the player from through the pieces. It looks like a photograph rather than a video.
Yeah,
You
look
know,
at this.
Harshit, in Harry Potter, we have moving photographs, and it looks like that. And it's such a perfect moment where Hans was sitting in this manner.
Yeah,
I wish someone would have captured it through a lens.
no, these are tough moments that Hans is going through. He takes the knight on f3. He had to, and now White simply is down on exchange. Well, he is attacking the f7 pawn, but and f5 would be a grave mistake here because queen c3 check, and you lose the rook on e1. So I think black will play the move rook back to e7
Yeah.
and then queen c3 check. This is going to be how the game proceeds.
Yeah,
No,
honestly,
but rook
Harshit, I
e7
think
queen
it's
c3.
so hard. Like, it's such a terrible miss. I mean, you can count the number of times you're going to make a blunder like this in your lifetime.
And f6 actually the most precise move found by Vincent, because if you went rook e7 it would have allowed queen c3 queen f6 and
Hmm.
white is still in the game.
Hmm.
But f6 is a very accurate move that Vincent found. He's up a clean exchange. A rook is worth 5 points, a minor piece is worth 3 points, so Vincent is actually up 2 points in the
Yeah.
live position here.
Yeah, actually, Harshit, Queen G2, Rook E7, Queen C3, this line you pointed out, I'm just looking at it. Queen D7, H4, H5, H6. How do you stop it?
No, no, this is very good for white, very good compensation. So
Exactly.
f6
F6 was
was,
required. So
and Hans,
F6 is a part of the whole combination. If you don't find F6, you do not retain your advantage. Do you think this is what he missed? Because it's hard to believe that he missed knight F3.
yeah,
But he
but the thing
simply
is like
missed it.
it's covered 3 times, and you you kind of ask yourself like if it's covered 3 times, how can it happen? But the rook on e1, and he look at Hans, he just does not even want to play anymore.
Of course,
Yeah.
Harshit. Anyone in his position is going to feel that way. It's a terrible blunder to make. I mean, knight F3 is one of those puzzle rush tactics. Oof.
Okay, so Vincent Keimer, guys, is going to move on to 6 out of 6. And how about Magnus then? Because his game kind of becomes important for the tournament standings as well.
Can we keep this camera on and go to Magnus's game, producer G? Is that possible?
कैमरा यही चल रहा है हमारा.
नहीं, अभी हम मैग्नस के गेम जाएंगे तो मैग्नस चेंज हो जाएगा ना, इसलिए
नहीं
मुझे
नहीं, it's not changing.
हाँ, ओके ओके ओके.
And
Okay. So let's keep the camera of Hans because I feel the game might get over anytime.
yeah,
So Magnus के बोर्ड पे क्या चल रहा है? Queen E3, A6. Magnus
yeah,
trying his
actually,
best.
he's trying his best, but Sarana has given Magnus no chance whatsoever to gain an advantage. And with the time differential, I think this game might end in a draw as well.
Hmm. So Magnus will be behind by one full point of the
Yes.
tournament leader. It's a big gap to close in. Queen E2 on the board, Queen B7. Um, so the problem is that white queen cannot get too active. First of all, there are no squares to get into, but also our king is a bit weak here. The squares around our king need to be covered, and that's why the queen needs to stay around our king too. For example, a move like queen c2, just to illustrate, it's already very bad because of queen f3. And we cannot allow the black king to get so active. I think
Yeah.
94 might do h4 actually. H4 of
Can we
only.
actually just try to get Magnus's camera once? Because I want to just see. Yeah, let's just see like once how these players feel. And I think look at Alexei Sarana. He is rocking back and forth in his chair. He is moving his queen back and forth because, as you mentioned, the white queen cannot really make any progress. And then black seems to have created a very solid fortress.
No, I'm just
And
wondering if black can push h4 here. Queen b7. Now it's white's turn to move.
but I
But
take
let's say, no, like it's white's turn to move. So maybe queen e3. I think he made a move, no? No, no, it's white's
he's,
turn to move. Right.
he's looking at
Queen
the score
e3.
sheet.
And I'm just wondering, can I get some h4 idea in? Like maybe queen b4 first, then h4.
Then what?
Yeah, that's, yeah, exactly. I don't have any progress. You take, and basically I cannot go to h5 because you go to d5 with your knight.
Exactly. And that's very risky to allow. And he goes back queen d3, queen e2, sorry. I think they're repeating. Look at this. Queen c6
Okay.
back by Alexei. And we might see a repetition. Alexei Sarana only using 30 minutes of his clock. Oh, we have another result that Yan Nepomniachtchi draws against Maxim Vasher-Lagrave on board 2. So they both move to 5 out of 6. But actually, Magnus's game is also repeating. I think that's a key moment to follow right now
Yeah.
and see if Magnus will repeat Queen e3, Queen c6. Because if he doesn't repeat and takes risk, he only has 17 minutes on his clock.
Yeah. Can we have Magnus's camera on the stream? Yeah, I think he might repeat, no?
Magnus is not losing, guys. Magnus is equal. And I think Magnus might have just realized what happened in Vincent's game because look at the curiosity with which he's looking at the screen, and based on that, Soumya, there is a reason why he's looking at the screen.
Yeah,
He
exactly. But
wants,
he wants to try, no? But I don't think he can try. That's the problem. He wants to try, but what will he do in order to try and put pressure on black?
maybe a3, b4.
Then what happens to the c4 pawn eventually? You put your queen to d3. So let's try some
Yeah,
ideas
but
here.
it's
Queen
too
d3.
risky. It's too risky.
Um,
Magnus will need to burn bridges to keep playing this position, and he goes back queen e2 and
it's a
queen
draw.
b7 by Alexei. And Magnus looks at the score sheet, sees how many times they have repeated this position. One more, and it will be a draw. And yes, queen e3 played, and Alexei and Magnus look at each other in the eye, shake hands, and the game has ended in a draw.
Very good result for Sarana. Decent for Magnus. He's 1 point away from the tournament leader. 3 more rounds to go. He will meet Vincent probably in the next round. It's
Yes,
possible.
this will be an epic matchup. If we get Magnus Carlsen versus Vincent Keimer in the next round, I think that will be a match we won't be able to take our eyes away from. In the meanwhile, Vincent is winning his game as we left it. What about Nihal? What about Nihal and Arvind?
Yeah, I'm curious to see whether Nodirbek is winning because he's also on 4.5. Nodirbek is worse, Harshit.
Wow.
Or it's equal, huh? Knight on f5. I mean, that was his last move. White's last move. Is there a checkmating pattern here with knight h5 and let's find a checkmate here. Okay, knight d3, by the way. Okay, let's show this to chat. Knight d3 would be a huge mistake here, chat. Why will you not take on d3 here? Be smart and not take on d3. Why? सराहना जी सराहना की जितनी सराहना की जाए उतनी कम है. अच्छा था. DS विकास. The queen is almost a king, the good old human being says about Magnus's game. Yeah, that's true. Like there, it ceased to be a long-ranged piece after a point.
And Khanuzir says this that cannot move the queen because we take on d3, and then whenever the queen moves, there will be checkmate on e7.
So that's why the queen is tied down. Knight f5, fantastic find actually.
Yeah, and now white wants to go knight h5 next. So you imagine black making a move like a5. White wants to simply go knight to h5, and then knight f6 check can come in. Like imagine a5, white plays knight h5, black plays a4, and then knight f6 check will just end the game on the spot.
Okay, wait, I'll show that line. You want to go knight h6 first, right?
Knight f6,
Oh, you want to go knight f6 first.
and now knight h6, and then after king g7, queen f6 is a checkmate.
Nice. Also, knight h6 also worked, no? Slower checkmate, but
Yeah.
eventually,
Mm-hmm.
eventually we will win. So, knight f5 is not easy to face. You cannot kick back the knight with g6. Why not? Why can't you kick back the knight with g6? H8 bishop is one of the worst bishops in the history of bishops. That's true. Why didn't Nodirbek play g6 at any point? It's a mystery to me.
Yeah.
Itne sare, it has been 22 moves by black so far. He needed one move to play g6. Why wasn't it played?
He should have absolutely played g6. And yes, we have a lot of answers. H6, knight h6 mate, the proficient says, and this will be all over.
Yes, g6, knight h6. This is another checkmate pattern where the bishop controls the dark squares around the king and the knight gives a check when the pawn structure is f7, g6, and h7. So knight f5, hard, difficult move to face. Nodirbek, for Nodirbek, the good part is that he has 50 minutes on his clock, Harshit.
And I mean, he needs to utilize his time carefully here because if he keeps on making quick moves, his opponent has kind of told him that if you keep making quick moves and subpar moves, I'm going to try to punish you. By the way, this weird idea of queen b2 also exists, like queen b2 or queen a2 at some point to, you know, pl- have a battery with your bishop and the queen there is also something that white can keep in his mind.
Oh, and another idea is knight d5, Harshit.
Oh my God, Soumya.
Let's go. Oh my God, there are too many tricks here in this position. I think knight takes f4 has to be played. You cannot leave this knight on f4 alive.
Yeah, I think allowing knight f5 was a very risky decision.
Absolutely. So black must take on f4. I don't think any other move makes sense here. Knight takes f4. Queen takes will be played. And maybe knight. Can I? I'm so scared to make a move because knight e6, guys, will
Queen
run into.
h6.
Uh, or maybe knight h6.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, queen h6 is too much, but queen e5 is possible.
But knight
Knight h.
h6 doesn't work, huh? Bishop g7, take, and h5, is it? Oh, this was a good tactic. Easy to miss. You're saying queen h6. Let's try queen h6.
Yeah. No, no, no. I was just joking. I think it's better to play something simple like queen g4. Queen
Queen
g4 is
h6?
for sure the best move.
What is the, is it f6? What is the defense?
f6, there is knight h6 mate.
No, queen h6. What is the defense? f6.
I mean, queen h6 doesn't even have a threat,
Maybe
no?
maybe rook
No, but
c8.
what's the threat of queen h6?
Maybe rook e8. No, I'm just wondering what is the best move for queen h6. Maybe rook e8 is not bad. ठीक है. And you want to go queen g4 with the threat of knight h6. Makes sense.
Yeah, queen g4 is really strong.
Yeah. Okay, knight f5. Rook e8. We played in 30 seconds by Abdus Sattarov, which is a mistake. How can you leave this knight alive? Maybe you can. Let's see what does he have in mind. Okay, it defends against knight d5 threat because now the rook... Oh, it doesn't.
No! You found the best move here. Knight d5, knight h6. Oopsie doopsie.
But he took 30 seconds, Harshit. He has 49 minutes on the clock and he plays it in 30 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's his strategy basically to play fast, but it can backfire. And now the question is if the experienced Grandmaster Daniel Hosrath can can find this move, knight d5.
Oh, I have a feeling that he switched from standard chess to freestyle chess. And that is why he's on. I just checked his performance on Chess.com and he has a bye in the first 4 rounds, which means he had played the standard chess event in the first 4 rounds, scored 4.5 there. And in the fifth round, he won against Amin Tabatabai in the Freestyle Open.
No way.
Yeah, and now he's facing Nodirbek.
Are you sure?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Oh.
No, he played freestyle only, Soumya.
But बाय क्यों आया है फिर?
No, I am not sure, but he played freestyle.
अच्छा. But he did win against Amin Tabataba in the previous round, and now he has a great position against Nodirbek Abdusattarov. Will he find knight d5? Maybe there is another move that is equally good, but knight d5 does a
Knight
good
d5
job.
is fantastic pattern, no? Like you deflect the queen from d7 and then you get knight at 6, queen f7. And if black doesn't take, I guess that's an important question. Okay, let's say black just keeps the knight on d5
Hmm.
and like let's say makes a move like random pass move like b5 just to understand what white wants. Okay, let's see. Knight
Knight,
d6 comes as an idea.
knight at 6, no?
Knight at 6 is
Oh, it's not
somehow,
good.
yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because takes,
And king
queen f6
f8.
and king f8.
And you escape.
Yeah, you escape here. So let's try to consider the candidate moves because after b5, knight d6 is one. Okay. What else do I have? Knight e7 is one.
Knight
No,
e7.
no, I'm just
Maybe not.
considering candidate
Uh-huh.
moves.
Knight
It's not
e7
like I'm
plus
playing
one.
it. It's just you should consider these moves.
Mhm.
That's my point. So knight at 6, knight d6, knight e7. Okay.
I really like knight g7.
Knight g7 is a candidate move, but I'm not sure what's the difference. Like bishop g7, knight f6, it's the same story, no? The
No,
black king
bishop
will go
g7,
to
we can take also bishop g7.
king g7.
Queen f6. We have some threats there.
Yeah.
Or queen b2. Queen b2 we can start with. Knight g7 is a good move. Knight g7. Oh, we can also take bishop g7 maybe.
Yeah.
Here.
I think knight d6 is probably very strong.
Really? What? Okay, let's see bishop g7, Harshit. It looks so tempting. Okay, it's the best move.
Bishop takes, knight h6 check, king h8, knight f7, king g8. Ah, and now knight f6 check. Wow.
Now, okay.
And queen takes, and knight h6 mate next. Nice. This is a nice line.
Array. Sorry.
Guys, Abdusattar of Norderbeck is actually on the ropes against Daniel Hosrath, who's a very experienced German grandmaster. And did he play knight d5? Not yet, I guess. He
Not
hasn't
yet.
played it yet. He's down to 10 minutes. So let's keep an eye on this game. What about Vincent's game? Is Hans getting any chances on our top board?
Ah, it's too difficult to create chances in this game. But okay, let's see. So Hans blundered an exchange there, and he played f6 with black, blocking the check. Queen c3, rook came back to e5, rook d3, queen e7, a4, rook to d8, rook d1, rook e2, queen f3, and queen e5. h4 by Hans, but it has no venom. The
Yeah,
attack does not threaten much.
it
h5 भी
doesn't.
आया तो भी क्या है, but maybe
Yeah.
we can ourselves play h5
No,
as
we
well.
want actually white to play h5 because we'll just take it with the queen. So rook d6 is probably what Vincent will play in this position. And he's very, very much in control to win this. What about Nihal? So let's check Nihal's board. He's
Yeah,
playing on board 7. Nihal is on 4 out of 5 against Maxim Chigaev. And okay, the material is balanced now. So Nihal was a pawn up. He lost that pawn. And what's happening here?
This is a very risky position for white. I mean, even though the material is balanced, all of the attack is on white's king. Black's king is super safe on h8.
Yeah, I already am thinking about queen to a8 here, and
Queen
then
a8, a sneaky move
yeah,
by
it is
Harshit.
a very sneaky move, but it threatens rook takes f3 to kind of open up white's king. E4 is another candidate move, but the problem with e4, guys, is that it opens up the a1 h8 diagonal, and queen b2 check will actually be a very unpleasant check to face, and that's why queen a8, according to me, should be a good move. Is that right?
Let's find out. Queen a8, a great move. Uh,
Yeah.
Maybe there are other moves as well, but queen a8 looks like a very good move here. You're also preventing rook b8, right?
Yes, and also I can swing over the queen to f8 at some point, and I just thought that this is like quite a multi-purpose move that Maxim Chigaev can make here.
And rook b7 maybe.
Queen f8 now, that's what I wanted, but then yeah, queen
If
f8.
a Can I
e4,
play
e4.
d4 and e4? Oh, it goes on, is it?
dc5, yes, dc5, it goes on.
Are you sure? Oh my God,
Yeah,
dc5. Guys, the knight on f3 is not hanging because there is a checkmate on h7.
yes, dc5, rook f3. Um,
Fun line
but
this is.
now
But
instead of yeah,
maybe, oh no. Let's go back a bit. I made the moves too soon. Maybe rook. Oof. Oh my God, my brain. I wanted to play rook g4 here. Of course, it's a bad move for many reasons, but mainly because of rook f1. And I lose my queen. My idea was to take the knight and play queen b2 check at some point. So ef3 also is not the best move, right? Because queen
ef3 is queen f3, and now it's very important for us to play the move queen a1 check, I think.
is the difference. Queen a1 check and knight e5, of course, or knight f6 even.
Yeah, and now
Oh, no. I just don't understand the difference between two moves, but maybe you can explain it to me.
yes,
Knight e5.
and now we play the move queen 8. No, queen a2 is not work. Rook
Queen
bb2.
g1 might be the only move here. I
No,
don't see
now
any
it's
other move.
rook bb2 somewhere. That's the whole point. So that we basically bring our rook from b2 to f2. But this is difficult to find, and this is quite a cool variation actually. But let's go to the live board, as we are quite far away from this. In the live board, queen b1, and this is the position, but it can happen. Queen a8, and this line is actually quite a forcing line.
Chat is saying there was a big blunder in Oderbek's game. You want to go
Oh,
and check what happened?
oh,
Oh, he went knight h5, not to d5, but to h5 with the knight. King f8 and knight takes
boom,
g7.
boom. He gives up a piece, and I guess he found some sort of a perpetual.
Why is it only a perpetual? Let's find out. What is white's idea here? Bishop takes. Bishop takes, right? What else?
Yeah, bishop takes, and knight f6.
Knight f6, because knight g7 might not be a perpetual, or it is. Queen f6, king g8, queen g5, king f8, and queen h6. And this is a perpetual. Shit.
Mhm.
Okay, then. And the other idea we were looking at is which one? Knight f6.
Yeah, knight f6.
This feels like white is winning. I'm not sure how black will hold. Maybe queen c7.
This looks quite promising for white. I agree with you. And then we can go knight take. It's important for you to go to
Queen
e6,
e6. Yeah, let's go.
because knight h7 now would be a bad move because of king e7.
But
But it continues. Knight
yeah,
g5.
there's no
And
queen
now
e3 anymore because the king blocks the rook's path.
maybe I have to go something like queen d5, and it's just a complex
Maybe
position.
maybe knight d3, Harshit.
Yeah, knight d3 is interesting
Oh no, it's a bad move.
because queen d2 now I'm afraid. But yeah, it's complex. Or queen d2 is not good. Queen g2. Uh-huh.
No, e3 is
Queen.
hanging. E3 is hanging. Let's see. Maybe a simple knight e6 takes and knight g7,
Yeah,
rook is
and rook is
hanging,
hanging. Yeah,
rook g8, knight f5, and we save our
yeah.
knight. So this should be good enough. So
But
actually,
they're
white
just
has
making a
chances.
they're making a perpetual. He took on g7, and I think Daniel is fine with a draw. So I think this game is going to end in a draw here. A good result for Daniel, but he actually had a chance there if he found knight d5. So this game ending in a draw. By the way, Nihal has gotten a small advantage, Soumya.
Yes, let's go to Nihal's game. ओह क्या गेम्स है आज के बीच में कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा था सडनली अभी टाइम प्रेशर में सब जगह पे नहीं एक्चुअली टाइम प्रेशर है नहीं 40 मिनट्स है निहाल के पास
Yeah.
there's
And
pressure on the board that's the problem.
and now the somehow it feels like white has consolidated his position because one pair of rooks are exchanged, and now white is the one who wants to go queen g5.
And the king might not feel as safe anymore as it was earlier. Queen c1. He actually went queen d7 instead of queen a8, Harshit. So queen d7 allowing rook b8 rook trade. And that's why maybe I think queen a8 was a fantastic move there. It's not clear to me why he did not choose this. But okay, queen
Yeah, he
c1.
should have gone for that. And now after queen c1, suddenly Nihal is the one who's taking over the initiative in this game. And I think Nihal might win this game, Soumya. And then he'll move on to 5 out of 6. By the way, draw was the result between Norderbeck and Daniel on board 3 there. Nihal will be the only Indian player with 5 out of 6. By the way, Harika is still playing.
Oh, let's go. I'm very curious to see Harika playing against Levon. Let's bring that board on the screen. Yep, I found it. अच्छा पर उनकी पोजीशन थोड़ी खराब है ओके
Yeah, Levon is slowly but surely squeezing Harika, Harika's position here because the pawns. Look at how many pawns there are on the fifth rank.
actually there's one more on a5 also. I think f4 here is a big threat but rook d7 was played. He's being very patient. He doesn't go for f4 or anything of that sort. He goes rook d7.
Yeah, I think he wants Harika to make a choice. Yeah, he wants Harika to take on g5, or he wants Harika to play something like knight h2 to allow a queen exchange. And he's just improving his position here. Rook d7, maybe rook f8 could be one of his ideas on the next turn. Before you sacrifice or make a break, you want to make sure that all of your pieces are in the game. And these ideas kind of subconsciously exist in the moves these top players make.
Hmm. Yeah, rook d7 with the threat of rook f8. A good point by Harshit here. And maybe knight g6 also you want to go.
Hmm.
Trapping your own queen, but you're ready for some sacrifices. Actually, white doesn't have any. counter, of course, but she also doesn't have too much of a plan here.
Exactly. Like,
How do I
how do you
defend
even play a
myself?
pass move? Yeah.
Ah, I need to make a move. I mean, I cannot. Do I move my knight actually? Maybe that's the best move.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
then,
maybe
but
knight
it's
to
tough to
four.
make this decision, I think. To move back with your knight to h2 is not so easy. But you are
But
right.
that's the
This might
only.
be,
I mean, I literally couldn't find any other move on the board. So that's why it might not come as a surprise that Harika plays it.
yeah. And I guess Queen f7 will be Levon's answer to this. So Harika is still fighting. It's good to see that she has not made like a huge mistake yet. She's still fighting. And Levon still needs to, finish this game off. It's still complex. And I do think that Harika still has some chances to hold, but for sure, Levon is a favorite right now. And I'm checking if there is any other interesting game. Top three boards सब draw हुए so far.
Baapre.
I think we can go to Nihal's game actually because his opponent is down to less than 15 minutes, Soumya.
Mm-hmm.
And
Actually, Leon's game is also very interesting.
okay,
Harshit, maybe we can have a look at what he's doing and then go to Nihal.
yeah. And
He's
maybe we can keep the camera of Hans versus Vincent so that at least we have a camera. Yeah.
so uh yeah, lots of things happening here. अगर pawn से pawn मारा जाए तो
Man, Leon is playing very creative chess
यहाँ
here.
पे
He's
mate हो जाएगी.
down a pawn, but the diagonal a at h1, as you highlighted, is completely open somewhere, and queen b7 or queen c6 seem to be two moves that black can make to bring the queen over on that diagonal. And I think I think black is for choice here, no?
Yeah, exactly. I think White's position is much more dangerous than Black's because of his king. Maybe H4, huh? Oh,
h4.
I saw a funny line here. Queen, okay, let's say H4. Uh, Queen B7, King H2. So this was my idea because I wanted to
Wow.
defend with the C1 rook. But
Mm-hmm.
the problem is pawn takes pawn, and
And guys, what will black play? Boom! Rook takes c4. Soumya, such a nice line.
oh my God, there are too many tactics in the air. Deflection works out really well. Why not rook takes C4, guys? Aryan Chopra game. Eccentric mystic wants to watch. Okay, then I will try and get that game. Yeah, we have it here. Okay. Aryan is playing Magnus's second round opponent, Alua Nurman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did this happen actually, Harshit? Like she asked Magnus for a selfie with her phone, and then Magnus asked the arbiter to take the phone away.
Yes,
This actually happened.
it
Okay, I read
happened. It
it in the
happened.
news. I wasn't sure if that's how it happened or they just
Yeah, but
made
I don't think you
that
should be
up.
allowed to have your phones with you inside the playing hall. So I think what Magnus did is very fair.
Yes, but a lot of open tournaments in Europe actually allow you to have your phone and they ask you to keep it in your bag in a switched off.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of this.
Mhm.
So I think what Magnus, especially, in a tournament of this stature
Mhm.
with 3,000 players inside the playing hall, I think it's only fair that Magnus made that request. Um, yes, and by the way, which board do we have? Leon, yeah? Uh-huh.
हाँ बराबर Arjun, Divyanshi, Naman Saria, all of you got it. There is a mate on H1 which was being defended by the rook, but no more because we deflected it. So let's go to Aryan's game. Aryan is playing black against Alua Nurman. बहुत Actually, a queen trade होने वाली है अभी. I'm sure white will trade queens.
Yeah, white will trade queens, and I feel like after that, white might even consider playing a move like pawn to g4,
अच्छा.
and I feel like it's quite possible that we see a draw here. Like queen e7 and g4. Is that a decent idea?
Let's see. Queen takes, king takes, and g4. Looks like a great idea, Harshit.
Yeah.
Takes, and h4, maybe.
h4 I don't like because now I'll just bring my knight to h3 somehow.
How? King h2.
Yeah, king f1 I think, but
Oh,
um,
yeah.
to bring the king as close to the center as possible. And then knight g1, knight h3, and the g5 pawn is a weakness. So Alua Nurman
Oh,
might hold.
wait. I mean, I have knight g6, knight f4.
I can start with bishop e4.
Ah, you start with bishop e4. Okay, it's equal only though.
I'm not sure. King g2. Why? Knight g6. I just take it.
Hmm. You bring the knight to e4 later.
Yeah, this. Yeah, quite likely a draw. So I think Alua Nurman has very good drawing chances against Aryan, who is also a very strong Indian talent. By the way, Vincent's game, the evaluation bar has completely swung in his favor. I guess there was another. Oh my God, he's going for checkmate.
So let's find out. Queen f1, king h2 is checkmate in one.
No, no, no. Bishop at d5 पे भी तो उसको मारेंगे पहले.
Sorry.
King h2 and then rook takes d5. And yeah, and then you are right. Queen h1 check, mate.
So king f8. It's black. It's white's turn. Huh. Queen f4. So king f3 will be played.
No,
Queen h1, king g4, and h5 is checkmate. So what did white? He's allowing checkmate on the board.
yeah, he goes king h2, rook d5. He wants queen c7, I guess.
कितने check देगा पर queen से? King h6 में king h6, queen f4 you want.
Yeah.
Okay. So queen c7.
And he takes that bishop on d5. So he has calculated a win here. Rook d5, queen h6, king h6, queen f4.
Why can't we go king f8 first of all?
Yeah, probably king f8 is simple, yeah.
King f8 and blocking the check with the rook. That's what Vincent goes for.
And resignation, resigns. Because if queen c8 check, then rook e8 now, and the f2 pawn is falling, and you're just losing completely. And look at Hans, he smiles there. He's just like, I blundered. Just 1 second.
Yeah, it's a very bad blunder actually. Unusual blunder at such a top level by such a top player. People have a bad day sometimes. What to do? You just need to accept the result and move on, go to the next game. Good win by Vincent, though. Great play, fantastic that he kept on trying in an equal position and got his big break. He moves to 100% score after 6 rounds. 6 out of 6. Vincent Keimer. Could he do a Magnus in this edition of the Grenke by winning all of his 9 games? We will find out.
Yeah, this was a very nice. I mean, I wouldn't say, I don't want to say lucky, but still kind of like an unexpected win for Vincent from a completely equal position. And now he's the sole leader of this tournament, Soumya. He is leading the tournament with 1 full point. And I think in the next round, he might just play against Magnus because Magnus was white and Vincent was black. So their colors also are matching.
Yes, and everyone on 4.5 out of 5 actually drew. So there
Yes,
is
they drew their
nobody.
game.
There is nobody who is even half a point behind Vincent. The closest competitor is 1 point behind, and one of them is Magnus Carlsen. So, yes, we could see Vincent versus Magnus in the evening round.
Yeah,
Mazze,
I think
mazze.
that will be a very important match. Maybe we can check Nihal's game because I feel like Nihal, if Nihal wins Soumya, I think
Okay.
he can really be one of in the joint second position actually, if you think about it, because he's on 4 out of 5. A win will put him on 5 out of 6.
You think he has good winning chances here, or do you think it is black who's trying? Whom would you choose? Which side would you choose here, Harshit?
Like
Who
somehow
playing the
feels
game?
like Queen G1 is dangerous, but the engines think it's just equal.
But Queen F7 is always. Acha, Knight G5 you want to play. Got it. So Queen G1. I thought Queen F7 does the job, but then White might have Knight G5.
Yeah.
And this is not easy to face because Queen moves to F8. Guys, what will you play? Let's ask some questions to the chat.
Yeah.
Chalo. Harika game, Harika game. Yes, we will go to Harika game. Tell me, what will you do for Queen F8? Harika is
Oh,
winning. What?
Harik Levon made a big mistake.
Okay, okay, okay. Let's make this small tactic on the board. Yes, 96 does work. It wins exchange and the game. So it's not easy for either side to defend. Let's go to Harika's board. Yes, Knight H2 was played, Harshit. Oh no, 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 no. What happened? Knight H2, Queen G6, she played E4.
Yes, incredible awareness by Harika. And then Levon played D4, which was a big mistake, allowing Harika to go H5. And
Mhm.
Harika has taken over the initiative against Levon Aronian.
Wow. So E4 basically is possible only because of the move Rook D7, because the Rook on D7 is now protected only by one piece, unlike when it was on D8. So that is why E4, a fantastic resource found by Harika here. If pawn takes, we can take with the bishop, and we would have a great position after we pick up the rook on D7. So D4 by Aronian and H5. अभी अभी एक्चुअली बहुत सारे इश्यूज रिजॉल्व हो गए वाइट की तरफ से बिकॉज वी हैड अ प्रॉब्लम ऑफ स्पेस that we have resolved. We have pushed our pawn to e4, we have pushed the other pawn to h5. The queen has to go back from a attacking position on h5, and we can even pick up the pawn on f5 next, Harshit, I guess.
Yeah, the point is now, Soumya, that EF5 and Knight G4, Knight F6 bhi aa raha hai.
Okay, so let's say queen g7 must be played, because if queen f7 takes. Okay, knight on f5 does protect the h6 square, but yes, knight g4. And we are threatening invasion into the black's camp. Our only problem, despite all of this, is our bishop on a1. If we can activate our bishop on a1 somehow, then we will actually have a big advantage in this game. So, Harika played h5, queen f7, ef5. ये सब हुआ है बोर्ड पर.
Oh, this happened?
Oh,
EF5
yes,
on the
yes,
board?
yes, yes.
Wow, guys, Harika Dronavali is having an incredible event at the freestyle Grenke. She's on 3.5 out of 5. She's playing Levon. Everyone would have thought that, it's just like a good experience for her to be able to play against Levon. But Harika looks at it otherwise. She wants to take this opportunity to beat him.
Absolutely, Harshit. She's an experienced player, so maybe she does not need the experience anymore. She's had enough of it. Now she's going to convert it into full points.
Oof. And here EF5 Levon is thinking, but things have gone completely haywire for Levon in the last three moves.
That, by the way, is not Levon who's on
And he
this.
took on f5 with the knight. Yeah, it's Jan Christoph Duda who is on the camera, because guys, we have the top five cameras, top five boards, K cameras with us. Levon took on f5, and I guess it's now time for Harika to go knight g4. Knight g4 to f6, and just plonk our knight there
Correct.
on f6. And then after knight f6, even ideas like queen c2, queen b1 to put pressure on the knight on f5. I mean, I will say this, that it doesn't feel like white is like winning, but I would surely prefer white with the knight on f6.
Yes. Knight f6. Another idea is queen g4. Then you're forced to go back with one of your knights to defend the knight on f5.
And then f4.
F4, yeah, rook d3, bishop b2, bishop c1. I mean, all white is having all the fun. Though teen moves pehle, we were struggling to find moves for white. We were struggling to find candidate moves as white. And
Yeah.
char move mein, white has gained space. White has activated all his pieces. And it's black who's struggling for space now.
And by the way, it's it's a bit sad, but I wonder Liang making another one move blunder against an Indian. This time he made a blunder against Sashikiran. If you go to that game, just one move blunder by him, and Sashikiran wins this game. What? Sashikiran is on 5 out of 6. Did not know this.
Oh my god. In this position, rook e7 was played by white. Rook f7 by black to defend the bishop on g7. And white played queen to d7, attacking the rook, but forgetting that black can make a new queen on c1, with which
Yeah.
she defends the rook on c8. And if you take the queen, I pick it up with a check, and then you take my rook back, but then I have a checkmate here on
Yeah,
f2.
exactly. Exactly. You can maybe make it on the board so that people can see what Awonder miss takes queen f2, and this is just checkmate on the next turn. Awonder had 52 minutes, Soumya, against 36 seconds of Sashikiran. He could have easily won this game if he kept making normal moves. A one move blunder by him, and now it's Sashikiran who goes to 5 out of 6. Quite a few players, Soumya. Maybe, the pressure or the fatigue of this tournament is catching up with them.
I wonder if it's about not being a rated event in terms of the freestyle rating, Harshit, because the players are playing with their classical ratings at the end of the day. There is no big price to pay, even if you
Mhm.
lose your games, because there is no rating at stake. And this is how people used to approach rapid and blitz earlier. I remember when I was a teenager, we did not have any rapid or blitz ratings. So all the rapid and blitz events were so much fun to play. And then suddenly they introduced rating, and you had to also play for the rating. So you were much more alert, and you actually worked on it. So maybe it's a part of the deal as well. Having rating can be a good thing or a bad thing. It depends on how you look at it.
I think rating is one of the only things that is in between a person, like a chess player, and him playing his best chess. Because I feel like rating is a very big, uh, hurdle in the way.
No,
Because
but okay, tell me.
I feel like we think so much about, oh, I'm playing a higher rated player, I need to play solid, I'm playing a lower rated player, I need to beat them. And in doing so, we kind of restrict ourselves from making the best moves.
But I feel it works differently for different people. I think a lot of people feel motivated when they have a goal, and you set a rating goal for yourself, and they are able to put in more energy and be more focused. Whereas if there is no rating to play for, they're just having fun. Then it's like me playing table tennis, you know. I'm not playing for anything over there. I'm just playing it for fun.
I mean, you're playing to play the best point, right?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not very competitive if I'm playing table tennis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm competitive only when something is at stake.
Interesting. Uh-huh.
So I think it depends on how you want to see. And also, I think a lot of people play better when they are under pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
They enjoy that pressure.
I am not one
I
of them.
Yeah, so it completely depends on your perspective.
Yeah,
Like I remember when I used to play team tournaments, I used to like playing in team tournaments because it is more responsibility, you know, and you're like it. I think different people operate differently, Harshit.
correct.
So yeah, maybe I wonder here was like too relaxed
Yeah, he
and
just
just
makes a careless mistake here and loses to Sashikiran. By the way, the game of Nihal is getting quite spicy
hmm.
against Maxim Chigaev. He's playing on board 4 or board 7, sorry. And here Black has pushed d5 as well. So now suddenly in the last few moves, it feels like Black has improved his position because the knight on g5 doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot right now. And Black perhaps wants to go d4, knight d5, knight e3. I mean, that would be a dream for Black, I guess, to get this knight to e3.
Wow. But then don't you give up the e4 square? That's okay. Your knight on
Yeah,
e3 would be a bigger beast.
I exactly.
Yes, actually, you know, Harshit, even like 5, 10 moves earlier, I preferred black's position because I always prefer to play against a weak king, no matter what. And I think the king on h1 and h2 is much weaker than the king on h8.
Yeah. And this move knight g5 maybe maybe I'm not the biggest fan of. Rook
Uh,
g3 and then he goes knight g5, but then Black goes d5 himself. And also, guys, you don't want to push the c pawn. Like you don't want to really play a move like c4 because after dc4, dc4, white gets queen to a1 or queen to c3, and then your e5 pawn becomes vulnerable. So you want to solidify that pawn on e5 by playing d4.
uh,
And now Nihal's time is ticking. He has 27 minutes on the clock. Still a nice advantage, 16 minutes advantage on the clock, but his position is slightly worse. Queen c3.
yeah,
Will
queen
he play
c3
queen
does come
c3?
to mind, na? Yes, looks like a good move. Why? Yeah, I think it's a very good move. You're attacking two pawns at the same time. Knight e2 is not possible, guys. Can you take knight to e2 and say, I am ready to win your rook in a fork?
Knight e2 is not possible because Swaminathan finds it.
Check.
Queen takes e5 check and white is winning. But I guess after queen c3, Soumya, queen d6.
Queen
And
d6.
Black just has everything under control. He's ready to go d4 next. And I
Worried
don't
about
see a
some
follow-up.
fork here. Queen e7. Queen e7 is also possible.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just wondering. Then what does white have here if not queen c3? Because I cannot play e3, the d3 pawn is hanging. Oh, is it e3? Because knight d3, queen c3, Harshit. Oh
But
no,
c4?
c4, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just messing everything up. And the knight on d3 supports the knight pawn on e5. So this doesn't work out well
Mm-hmm.
for us. What could white play to keep his position intact? You know, I faced Nihal the last time was 5 years ago, I want to say, but he was already 2600.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he forgot the opening and it was a dangerous position for him. And he defended so well. That was very surprising for me because usually like he was under a like usually he plays very fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because his position became worse, he realized it immediately. ऐसे नहीं कि उसको उनको बाद में पता चला. And he defended, he took a lot of time on the clock, maybe 50 minutes or 1 hour, I don't remember. He took a lot of time on the clock and he found really good moves to defend. So I think he's going to take his time here. That is my experience from playing him, that
Mm-hmm.
he's going to take his time here and find a good move rather than just play fast on his time advantage.
Yeah, that's very well said, Soumya. And I think that time advantage का क्या फायदा if you don't utilize it? So I
Hmm.
think it makes sense that at some point you take your time and you come up with a good defensive idea or a good strategic idea depending on your circumstance. So Nihal will take his time here. By the way, I think you will really love Bortnik's position.
Okay,
Or
let's.
by the way, Botnik and Harika, both games interesting. Just to quickly check Botnik's position, I think it's
Where
super
is he
interesting.
playing? Botnik. Which board is he playing, Harshit?
He's playing board 9.
हाँ. Yakuboy, Nadirbek versus. आई.
Yeah, exactly.
मेट ना हो जाए कहीं मेट. मेट ही हो रही है यहाँ पर तो.
नहीं कैसे रुकच वन नाइट ऑफ वन बैक.
Hard to believe. Come on. Eval bar needs to take a break. You cannot tell me this is equal.
Yeah, I guess he's saying that rook h1, knight f1, and then queen h3, king e2, queen h5, and it's like perpetual.
Nobody is taking this perpetual. Black is going to play on for victory. Come on. कुछ ना कुछ तो ढूंढेंगे यहाँ पर.
But
रुक
the
सकते
problem
हैं.
is queen b2 भी आ रहा है सौम्या. So this position it feels like someone should be winning, but in fact it's just balanced.
I would. Oh yeah, and you are actually also threatening BA5 maybe. Just.
Yeah. But queen b2 is just so dangerous. Yeah, I mean white gets one move, queen b2 is
Yeah,
over.
I mean I was looking at H6. Looks like a silly move to play. But then maybe just BA5. Okay, let's go Queen B2 first. King H7. Oh, what am I doing? मुझे मुझे पता नहीं वो पहले वाले पोजीशन से वो पैटर्न याद आया कि हम किंग H2 जा सकते हैं पर वहां पे हमारा रूक यहाँ पर था ना.
Yeah.
Queen B2 is a big threat. Okay, can I make a move or any other move and see if I can wait or I cannot wait at all?
No, I think you just have to actually with black give a perpetual. Instead of h6, it actually might just be mandatory for you to go into this variation with queen h3, queen h5 because if
So,
white can set up this battery, this is too risky, yeah? Queen check and then rook d1. Oh,
hey,
rook d1, queen
D1
d1.
yeah, sorry, let's show this also. So it's not this. No, actually,
But why not
Queen
queen g8?
F6.
Why not
Huh?
queen g8 check? It's more logical, right? Instead of queen h8
Oh, sorry, yes.
and king e7, we have bishop f6. So yeah, white is just winning. So that's why I think that this game will surprisingly end in a draw, even though it looks quite complex.
Too many problems to
So I thought
solve
it's a...
in.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, people is like Harika +1. Harika is up on exchange now.
Okay, then. Oh, that's massive to be
By the way,
materialized.
Arvind and Murli Karthikeyan have drawn their games.
So, how did she win the exchange? EF5 met with knight F5, bishop takes, rook takes, knight comes to G4, knight went back to defend the other knight on F5, but it allows knight F6.
Yeah.
So, Levon chose to give away the exchange and retain a great pawn structure, a good knight on f5, but the other one is not doing much.
Yeah, and
Queen f3.
although the
Yes.
engine gives a big advantage, the bishop on a1 is blocked. However, yeah, that's the problem actually. The bishop on a1 blocked तो है.
को आने में बहुत देर लगेगी गेम में.
So it's not a winning position by any means for Harika. But it's a good position for her.
What do you think? If Levon offers a draw here, is she likely to take it?
I think so, because she also has only 9 minutes on the clock.
So, a lot of good players I've observed have this knack of knowing when to offer your opponent a draw, you know.
Yeah. But
And
Levon is on 3.5, Soumya. If he draws this game, he will be 2 points away from the leader. I think he might just risk it and keep playing.
but I mean, you think he has chances because of the bishop on a1, right? So
Yeah.
black can hope for a advantage at some point. Also, but how? What
Yeah, I
is
mean, I can see how, for example, knight on g7 comes back into the game, like knight e6 to c7 to d5 somehow, and black can get some chances. Well, black won't win this game without Harika making a mistake. So he's banking on his time advantage. By the way, he goes rook f7 and he sets up some ideas on the f3 f2 squares.
And a crucial point is that the knight on g7 covers the e6 and e8 squares. The
Yeah.
knight on f5 controls the e7 squares. So it is not easy for white to exchange one pair of rooks, which is usually a good idea when you have an advantage. No matter what kind of advantage, it's always a good idea to exchange one pair of rooks. It improves your position. It improves your advantage. यहाँ पे वो करने के chances बहुत कम है हरिका के पास. So maybe that is one big reason. And also, Harshit, knight on g7 is a great defender. Karpov ke games mein, knight used to be on g7 and there would be no checkmating ideas against the black king.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Knight on
usually the knight is
g7.
on f6, right? But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we fianchetto to the knight and bring it to g7.
Very cool, actually, that we should keep our knight on g7 if we think it's in danger. Uh-huh. By the way, at some point I was thinking if white can go rook e2, queen d5 and just go rook e6 and sacrifice the exchange.
Okay, so let's make a couple of moves here. Rook f7, maybe we go rook e2.
King h7, queen d5.
Queen d5 is not easy to make actually.
Why?
Okay, we can. Knight h5 won't work here, right? Rook e6.
Yeah, knight h5, rook e6 should be really good for white.
Hmm. Queen g7. Let's just show a
And
couple of moves.
we can win the b6 pawn, or
Yes,
we can play queen e4, which is probably a much stronger move.
g4 is a really bad move here, guys. I think so because of knight f4.
Yeah. But you can start with queen e4 and you're just completely winning.
Setting up the trap of g4, and this could be a very good
So
way
Harika plays
to
a move. What does she do?
rook
Rook
d.
e2. Bravo. Bravo, Harika. Harika has found the best move in the position, rook to e2. And Levon Aronian is in trouble. He's in trouble because white wants to somehow go queen to d5 next and then rook e6. Levon is down an exchange. He was the winner of the Grand Slam championship finale in South Africa. In this tournament, though, he seems to be struggling. And he made a move. Queen d6 back. Maybe it's time to play bishop b2? Or no?
You know,
Bishop b2 to...
I was looking at rook e5. It is a blunder, and it probably is for a lot of reasons. I mean, knight h4 is a good way to illustrate. But even knight e3, I did not
Oh,
like.
damn.
Knight e3, maybe queen e4, yeah?
Yeah.
There are many nice ideas here in this position. Let's see what Harika
Harika
chooses. Queen
chooses?
d6.
She doesn't go for rook e5, does she?
No, I think rook e5 is a mistake because of knight
Yeah,
h4
no,
and...
I don't think rook e5. I think rook e5 won't happen.
Hmm.
I think Harika needs to play very fast now. She only has 6.5 minutes on the clock. Harika, you need to speed up. I don't think black has a threat yet. Maybe knight h4 could be one idea. She goes queen to a8 check.
Yeah, we can also oscillate between this one and Nihal's game. So
Yeah.
queen a8,
Uh-huh.
and it's Levon's turn to play. Let's go to Nihal's game for a bit. By the way, Harika's advantage, did it increase after queen 8? I saw the bar go up.
No, I think it was queen 8 was the best move.
Maybe rook f8 needs to be played. Okay, we'll go to Nihal's game and see how he's doing, whether he can hold up. Oh, he's lost a pawn, Harshit.
Yeah, Nihal is in a slightly tough position here. By the way, Buddy Pranav is also playing.
Acha, he gave up a pawn. A4, queen a4 and rook g4 is the defense he finds. He wants to go to h4 with his queen.
Ooh.
And he also is threatening e3 in some, not really actually. E3 is a not a move you want to make because always queen c2 check and your king will be in big trouble. But queen h4 might be the idea. And even rook h4. Actually, rook h4 might be the bigger idea.
Yeah, and with only
Oh,
5 minutes on the clock, I
in
think.
fact, Harshit, can we ask the chat what is white's next move here? Let's say white, I want to make a move for black, but I don't have it. Let's say black may make c4. What will you do as white here, chat?
Mhm. Rook h4, people are saying, Soumya.
Yeah, rook
Rajesh Shah.
h4 works well only probably. But there's one more idea I was looking at. Rook h4 might be also a very good move.
Queen h4, Mrityunjay. And that's the
What's my
move
issue?
Soumya was looking at. Queen h4, h5, and knight f7 check. Soumya wanted to show this.
What?
Queen h4, h5, knight f7 check was your
Ah,
idea, no?
no. Queen h4, the problem is queen d7.
Oh, I thought you wanted. Okay, okay.
Oh, that's a nice. I didn't see that. Wait, what did you want to show? Queen
h5,
h4,
knight
h5.
f7.
Oh, अरे वाह. Pretty tactics all over the place.
But I think knight h7 is the way, yeah? Uh-huh.
Yes, I think knight h7 wins on the spot because
Wait, he
we
played
moved our rook
c4?
away.
No, no,
No,
no.
that's my move. I just wanted to show this tactic because we are threatening knight h7. We moved our rook up from g3 to g4 to clear the path for our queen to come to h4. King takes and queen h4 checkmate. Yes, I think Asmitya found it. And 693.
And he has 3 minutes on the clock.
Telepathy.
निहाल सर इनके पास कुछ चांसेस है क्या इन दिस pawn down position? It kind of reminds me of like one of the games Gukesh played in the candidates, like where against Firuja, I think. I'm not so sure, but yeah, this looks a bit scary for black, where white is trying to attack his king with only 2 minutes on the clock. I do see Maxim Chigaev struggling to find a move.
Maybe go back.
To
But
Harika.
oh, for Harika.
Oh, yeah, go back Queen A7, you mean, yeah? Queen D7?
Yes, but it looks bad only. Queen D7, maybe Rook H4 or E3. I'm a bit confused, but Rook H4 seems to be good, no?
Rook H4, H5, and just E3, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Nihal has created chances to win, not only to defend, but to win this position.
Increíble. Es un jugador increíble. And 1.5 minutes for Maxim Chigaev. Guys, Nihal Sarin with this win will move on to 5 out of 6. We already have Sashi Kiran, who is on 5 out of 6. He kind of has found his rhythm in this tournament. Well, a wonder did make this big blunder, but Sashi Kiran capitalized on that and he did make a move. Maxim, right? He played
Yeah,
H5
got it.
and Queen H4 immediately played.
Threat is not Rook F4 because it runs into Queen F4 check. But the threat is, what is the threat, guys? You have a big hint already. What is the next move by white? If
We
black,
showed this idea.
yes, but in a different position. If CFC ballers ask a very difficult question. Guys, can Prag still win candidates or it's over? It's too
It's not
early to.
over, but
Yeah,
he's on -1 and the leader is on +5. So, to be honest, it's essentially no chance.
he played queen to c2.
Yeah.
And here, actually, it's a very good move because knight f7, which was our threat, runs into king h7. And white is threatening queen e2 on his own, while also threatening to pick up our knight.
Is Rook G2 possible?
Now,
Yeah.
okay, so rook f4, I'll just show this line. Rook f4 runs into queen e2, check, and it defends the h5 pawn. And then rook f4.
Mm-hmm.
So Harshit is saying rook g2, so that knight g2.
Queen
Guys,
H5
knight g2 will run into queen h5, and
and
this
knight
will be
E6
a
check.
checkmate.
No, knight E6 check. Ah, no.
No, why weren't you giving this check? Like
King
this one?
F6.
Isn't this winning? E4, huh? Hmm.
Okay, this is complex. But at least Nihal will have a perpetual. So it's good.
Hmm. But it's hard for us to find it.
No, I mean he can just take the rook on F8. No, in the
Okay, okay. Here. Yes, yes, yes. So it's not winning, but it's a good idea. Rook G2.
yeah, rook G2 seems decent. So Nihal is thinking, let's quickly check Harika's position as well. Harika is playing against Levon, and she does manage to improve her
Oh,
position.
oh, now the threat is G4. So what will he play? King G. Acha, nahi. They are repeating.
Oh, they're
Harshit.
repeating?
They've Rook D2, Queen D6 happened.
Yeah,
Queen 8 check, King H7, Queen E4, King H8 happened.
yeah, they're
Okay.
repeating.
So he's going to go back and it will be, there's a good chance that this is going to be a draw.
Yeah, which is a very good result for Harika. but she she had some chances to win. But considering the difficult position she got from the opening, I think a draw would be a very good result for her, especially against a legend like Levon.
Yeah, she survived that. That was a tough position to survive, actually.
Yeah,
क्या हुआ नोदिरबेक बोर्तनिक का अरे they are making this draw.
they made it, I think.
Yeah, the result is not updated, but
It's a
yeah,
draw.
they made the draw that we saw on the board. King e1, queen h3, king e2, queen h5. मजा है. And
Harika.
Duda is winning against Ivan Saric. Okay, he's 2 pawns, 1 pawn. He's 1 pawn up, but the bishop is really bad. Oh my God, look at this bishop, Harshit. ये क्या
Yeah,
करेगा?
this is completely gone.
You can never come to b7 because the b4 pawn will hang.
Yeah. No, this is completely winning for Duda, who will also move. There are going to be a lot of people on 5 out of 6.
Yeah, I think unless you score like an out of score, it's not easy to understand who became the champion even after the last round is over.
Yeah.
You'll have to wait for the arbiter to announce it because a lot of people are going to finish on a high score. Harika has played Queen 8, so I guess we will see a result here soon. Nihal ka game एक बार देख लेते हैं and then we can wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Queen C2. Oh no, this is the move I made. Queen C2 is the position on the board.
Yeah, Rook G2, I think, would be a very, very decent idea for Nihal. Guys, for the ones who just joined in, Magnus drew his game against Alexis Sarana. Vincent was playing against Hans. They were the only two players on full points. And then Hans made a huge inaccuracy. He had an oversight, missing his opponent's move knight f3 check, and then Vincent won. He's on 6 out of 6. And then we had a draw between Arvind and Karthikeyan Murli. Nodirbek also drew his game. So not many results today. But here, look at this. Nihal finds Rook G2. And now actually the next two moves will be very interesting to see what happens. Because Chigaev is under some time pressure.
I have a very strong feeling he's going to simply take and go for this because I don't even think there's an easier candidate move than knight g2 here.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if knight
It's
G2
c1
is
maybe.
so easy to play.
Oh, really? Because you think the king might get checkmated,
And
that's why.
Harika draws her game, by the way. So good result for Harika to draw against Levon. If she was told that she would get this result before the event, she would accept it in a jiffy. सौम्या Maxim Chigaev का थोड़ा डर लग रहा है क्या? Because white does want to go oh no, he cannot go e3. He wants knight f7 check perhaps.
Knight f7, knight e5 is the threat. Knight f7, king h7, knight e5.
Or knight f7.
Oh,
He
oh, he
played rook
played
g8.
rook g8.
Oh
It's the
wow.
it's a good move. Oh wow, what is rook g8? Knight f7, king h7, and knight g5?
Yeah, that's a draw. Or is it?
No idea. Oh, what's happening? King g6 maybe. Knight g like this line. This is the line we were looking at. Maybe king g6. Oh, it's King G6 is losing. Let's wait. Why is King G6? Ah, I don't even understand this.
Yeah, this is very complicated. Maybe just rook f2 or something like this simply.
Rook f2.
No,
Oh.
it's tough. Yeah, some knight e4, queen f6, knight.
Oh yes, knight e4, knight g2, queen g5. King h7, knight f6.
Yeah, and
And if
king f7.
king f7, queen f6.
Yeah,
And he'll pick up this rook
we'll
also in
pick up
check and
everything.
then
Yeah.
everything in check. Oh my god. But this is so tough. Okay. Rook g had a fantastic defense.
So this means knight f7 and knight g5. Black
Hmm.
will have to go back, and then this is a draw.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think this game will also end in a draw.
Okay, Harshit, do you want to stay till the end or should we wrap it up? What do you say?
I think this game will also end in a draw.
Hmm.
So then we can take a break for now, and then
Hmm.
we can be ready for the next round, which will start in 2 hours and 15 minutes from now, guys.
Hmm.
And it's Vincent Keimer who has a 1 point lead. And we know Magnus Carlsen really accelerates his play from in these final 3-4 rounds towards the championship round. So very exciting sixth round coming up in 2 hours 15 minutes from now, Soumya. Thank you so much for waking up early and staying with me. It's a long broadcast, but having someone really helps. And thanks you guys for joining. Thanks to the producer, bye. And I think we will see you all in a bit.
Take care.